This is Thad Duvall's time of year. When the series heads north and the tracks get rough, nasty, rocky, and muddy, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider excels. He proved it with a dominant performance, going nearly wire to wire to win the Wiseco John Penton GNCC 2 weeks ago. Now we head to Odessa, New York, and the Tomahawk GNCC. Can Duvall chop the field down again? Defending series champion Caleb Russell will have to answer back or risk losing even more of his points lead and more momentum to his longtime rival. The Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC coming your way next, live on RacerTV.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Welcome to the AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series, an AMA National Championship. We're out here in beautiful Odessa, New York for round number 8, the Dunlop Tomahawk. Well, wow, we're coming off one incredible round, Landon. Talk to me about that XC1 class.
Yeah, we had a crazy day at the John Penton. This whole year we've had Thad Duvall and Caleb Russell going head-to-head. Good battles all year long. Thad got off to a good start, and I think he used that good start to his advantage. He said, I'm out of here. Caleb had a bad start, and the John Penton was a tough track for him. Caleb struggled a little bit. Thad got out there and ran away with it, ran it all the way to the finish line, coming away with the win. Down at the end of the last lap, we had Josh Strang and Caleb Russell battling it out for that final couple corners. And Strang came out in the second place spot. Caleb Russell came out in third. I'm sure all three of them and many more are going to be going for the win.
Absolutely. And then the XC2, that battle we've seen all season long between Toth and Ben Kelly. We got more of it in the last round, and wow, those guys were absolutely winded.
Yeah, two teammates going at it. I believe they're roommates as well, and man, do they have some good racing. I mean, that XC2 class is good stuff, but Toth came out on top, and Ben Kelly not far behind him. DeLong had a good start to the race as well. I believe he led about an hour and a half worth of the race anyway, half the race, and faded towards the back just a little bit, but it's going to be tough to get by those two KTM riders.
It sure is, man. And then the FMF XC3, a rough day for Jesse Ainsley, but man, opened up the window. How about the race from Alex Teagarden?
Yeah, I mean, he's always there. I feel like and Penton was a good day for him. He came out on top, but good battles there. I mean, we got good battles all around. We had Jason Raines in the number 2 spot and Cody Barnes in the number 3 spot. So looking forward to that one today as well.
There we go. The stage is set. Now we're going to take it down with Jared Bolton to check out today's FMF PowerPoint.
Thanks, guys. We're out here at the FMF PowerPoint. This is one of the toughest, most feared, and most technical parts of this Tomahawk race course. Look at this. It's littered with loose dirt, shell rock. What's that mean? That means it's going to get polished off. They're going to get down to that rock. And this is going to become the most technical part of this racetrack as the weekend wears on. The camera does no justice to how steep this hill is. I'm getting winded just walking up it. Okay, maybe not that bad, but you still get the picture. It's pretty steep. It's going to get really rough, and it could play a role in the race. The guys who are really good at technical stuff are going to be in an advantage here. The guys who aren't really good at technical stuff, they're going to struggle. They're going to have a hard time making it up. This could make the race right here. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jared. What a cool feature we have here at today's track at the FMF PowerPoint. I think that could make for some interesting racing.
Landon, you're absolutely right. Well, the stage is set. That's going to do it for us down here. Let's get this race going. We're going down to Rodney Tomlin at the start line.
Mikey, and welcome down here to the start. You said the beautiful and scenic Seneca Highlands here in Odessa, New York, as we are set for round number 8, the Tomahawk GNCC. A former winner, if I'm not mistaken, of this round, a rider that really made some major gains a couple of weeks ago at John Penton GNCC. We're talking with Josh Strang. Josh, I tell you, the stage is set for greatness, man. You're on a great roll. You've done well here in the past, and I'm sure you're feeling great today.
Yeah, the track looks good. A little dust in the fields. They're throwing a little bit of water down, but I think the woods look good. No dust, a little bit of shale rock there, and I think it's fairly simple track, so I might see some good racing today.
Well, I think Josh is absolutely right. We're going to see some great racing, no doubt about it. And before we do that, let's meet our starting lineup. Rolling to the line first today. He rides aboard the number 1, hailing from Boonville, North Carolina, on an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM, Caleb Russell. He's rolling to the line next, fresh off a win, and fresh off a win here 1 year ago, aboard the number 989 from Williamstown, West Virginia, on a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Husky, Bad Duval. Next up, third in points, aboard the 514 from Belton, South Carolina, on a Teely Energy Racing KTM, Stu Failer. Rolling to the line next, fourth in points, aboard the number 739, hailing from Morganton, North Carolina, on a JCR Honda, Lucas Oil Fly Racing Honda, Trevor Bollinger. Up next, he is fifth in points. Fresh off a second place finish just 2 weeks ago from Australia on a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing machine, former champ Josh Strang. Up next, he's featured on the event t-shirt from Duval, Washington, on an AM Pro Yamaha. He's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 12 from Livingston, Tennessee, on a Beta USA machine, Jordan Ashburn. Up next, he is eighth in points as a rookie from Fairmont, West Virginia, on a KR4 Husqvarna, Lane Michael. Riding aboard the 121, hailing from Logan, Ohio, is ninth in points on the KR4 Husqvarna, Corey Buttrick. Rolling to the line next, aboard the 314 from Belton, South Carolina, on a Teely Energy Racing KTM, Grant Baylor. Up next, aboard the number 17 from Fort River, New Jersey, on a solid performance KTM fly racing machine, Jesse Rome. Riding aboard the number 410 from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, on a factory gas backed by Fred Andrews Racing, Andrew DeLong. And last, and certainly not least, aboard the number 264, the first American to ever win an ISDE overall individual championship, and one of our own, welcoming back from Ekron, Kentucky, the Rockstar Energy Liat Maxxis-backed Husqvarna, Ryan Sipes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC, as our riders find their way onto the starting line and their positions for the start today. The nerves are starting to tingle as we know that the anxiety of the start is just around the corner and the green flag waving is just moments away as Ricky Towery has made his presence known there in the first turn here today. to let these riders all know that we are in the midst of our starting sequence. The next time we see Ricky, he'll give us our order of just 1 minute. And from there, we will work our way to 30 seconds into the all-important 10-second call. These next few moments in GNCC racing may be some of the longest moments of a racer's race day, especially when he's feeling the hunger to go out and rip through the terrain of Western New York, as so many of these riders are. Over 200 riders out here with us, our XC1 Pro, our XC2 250 Pro, and the XC3 125 two-stroke class, that FMF class back there, along with our A and B riders, our rising stars of the GNCC Racing Nation, and Ricky Towery informs all over 200 of them that we are 1 minute away from going racing here in the soils of New York, our final race of the weekend, but the first of 3 grueling hours for these 200-plus riders that sit on this starting line right now. All attention focusing to Ricky Towery now as he grabs that blue flag, has it in hand, and gets set to let everyone know. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing, folks. And I got to ask you, race fans here in the great state of New York, are you ready to go GNCC racing? You guys did all right, but that's good. That's good. But I'm going to tell you right now, we had a really rough and rowdy crowd yesterday with our ATV fans. I got to ask you, bike guys, here on a Sunday, are you ready to go Tomahawk GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And road number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. $250 up for grabs now as we round that first turn. A mad dash in the 264. Brian Sipes grabbing the early lead. Caleb Russell hot in tow. And a 739, a Trevor Bollinger right there with him as we go to the XC2 250 Pro. Craig DeLong, Sam Evans, Dylan McRitchie, Cole Madison, Pascal Rachnacker, Austin Lee, Joseph Herrero, Liam Draper, Joshua Toad, Philip Cheney, Mike Witkowski, Hunter Bush, Jarrett Moan, also Brian DeSalt, Ryder Lafferty, Evan Smith, Damon Romo, Anthony Federico. 10 seconds. Tyler Brenna, Benjamin Kelly, Zach Nolan, Zach Hayes, Braxton McGee, Ryan Francis, Nick Davis, Trevor Barrett, Jonathan Garrar, and Jonathan Johnson. 28 riders from row number 2, the XC2 250 Pro 250 Pro class. And here we go. Out the stripe, it's 175. Man, Mike Witkowski gets way crazy trying to grab that early lead. Let's see if he can recoup from that one. 175, I believe, though. Joseph Herrero from West Creek, New Jersey, taking the whole shot down to the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class, ready to roll. 10 seconds. Jesse Ansley, Cody Barnes, Ryan Lojak, Alex Teagarden, Jason Langebeck, and Jason Raines. Raines getting off to another phenomenal start, but he's got coming. Oh, it's banging him, grinding there with Teagarden in the first turn, in the 37 machine of Jesse Ansley takes over the early lead on his RPM TF suspension Central Florida back machine, the 250A class. Coming up next, it's Jace Hayes, along with Dakota DeVore, Blaine Kimmery, Michael Cook, Matthew Davis. 10 seconds. Owen Guys, Ben Thomas, Lane Dufflinger, Matthew Conley, Jordan Artabani, Adam Hartnagel, Brewer Cawley, Jason Key, Jonathan McDougall, Nate Smith, JoJo Bowden, Josh Farrell, Matthew Keeper, Simon Johnson, and Barry Fernandez as they rip through the first turn. Second turn, it's the 74. Blaine Kimmery out of Charlotte, North Carolina on a Universal BUR seat-covered teardrop films back machine. Up next, Open A class, Connor Smith, Ben Parsons, Zach Tussle, Levi Cagle, Eric Geis, Luke Ross, Brock Cagle, Harrison Schreiner, Zachary Cleland, Tyler Soriano, also Andrew Strickler, Maxwell Randolph, Cope Beckerlake, Jason Lipscomb, and Bryce Coster. All ready to roll in 10 seconds. The number 36 of Connor Smith, a great start there. And wow, about 3 bike lengths past that first turn, second turn now. Out of Denver, North Carolina on a Palmer Moto, Mike and Annette Lyons and Grip Energy back ride. 208 class coming up next. We got Joe Marsh, Tyler Centrino, Zachary Davidson, Michael Beeler. 10 seconds. Dylan Semple, Chase Colville, Gavin Simone, Chase Goslin, Landon Lynn, Jonathan Ackley, Ryder LeBlanc, and Randall Irvin. .359, Chase Goslin from Pownal, Vermont, taking the early lead in this one as we go to the 4-stroke 8 lights class. Johnny Manera, Michael Delosa, Benjamin Wright, Adam Hollenkamp, Louis Burndell, Caleb Stone. 10 seconds. Brody Johnson, Riley Johnson, Russell Smith, Bolton Roth, Brendan Poling, Dustin Vincent, Jacob Chrisman, Brandon Keegan, Francis Philatomer, also Frederick Bluan and Braden Moore. Francis out of Laval, Quebec, Canada. Lassie grabs the early lead, though. It's 5:87. Frederick Bluan out of Canada as well. A 19-year-old rider here in this 4-stroke 8 lights class. Senior A 40-plus class. Shotgun, Sean Remington, Frank Tussle, Gregory Richardson, Sean O'Leary, Craig Volkemer, Gabe Goodman, also Chris Levin, Rick Burton, and Frank Messina. 10 seconds. All right. Shotgun, Sean Remington's little boy, Little Sean, I like to call him Pellet Gun, actually won some trivia question earlier today in our Dunlop Trivia. And the 181 grabbing the early lead here is Sean O'Leary from Round Rock, Texas here in the senior 40-plus A class. We got the junior A 25-plus class, Andrew Boggs, Tyler Brutton, also Casey Belt, Devin Burks, Nick Mellinger, Joseph McCarty, Dustin Ulrich. 10 seconds. Jake Hines, Colton Hawk, and Jesse Kildo. Well, we got a KTM into the first turn. Let's see what happens. That is the 64 of Tyler Brutton out of Troutman, North Carolina, as he'll take the early lead. That A30-plus class, Sam Forrester, also Jared Hoffman, Louis Oleon, Carlos Melo, Eddie Lojak Jr., Jeff O'Leary, Dustin Connor, and Bill Zavende. 10 seconds. Wow, what a great jump for Jared Hoffman out of South Park, PA on the shaky bottom and RSR suspension Team Liberty machine. Oh, he's got company, though, but he's going to hang on to it. That 310 of Eddie Lojak Jr. is right there knocking on the door. Now, did Eddie? Nope, not yet. He's working on it. Senior B coming up next in 10 seconds. Mark Proper, Leon Whitaker, Devin Ferguson, Mike Muncy, Jason Wilson, Jason Stickley, Joe Maurice, Bo Hamlet, Gene Switta, and Darren Darmos. I believe I seen your B rounding the first turn. Oh, we got carnage in turn 1, but it's the 418. Jason Stickley from McDonald, PA on the Lenovo Racing Steeler Motorsports Stickley hauling machine, grabbing the early lead. 4-stroke B lights coming up next. Anthony Powers, Gatlin Welburn, Zach Maley, TJ Vine, Jay Giesler, Mac Reimer, Garrett Robertson, Tyler Gentry, and Alva Grice. Less than 10. Wow, 6:13 I thought was going to get that Zach Maley, but I think he got covered up at the very last moment as we go next to the 250B. 10 seconds. Cody Moorhead, Kyle Prismont, Philip Dagnes, Kevin Cotton, Giodone Fridas, Levi Mack, Keaton Ultimus, Jordan Plows, Jack McMakin, Nathaniel Williams, Ian Flynn, Robert Whitlock, Cole Whitmer, Zachary Sanders, Stephen Bannock, Jackson Ways, Jeremy Clare, Kyle Wilkie, and Adam Williams. 5:18 out front, Cole Whitmer out Amity, Pennsylvania on Ampro Yamaha, backed by Waynesburg Yamaha and Answer Racing. 200B class, Sean Myers, John Fleming, Norman Connors, Tanner Kerfman, Colby Davis, and Hunter Cleveland in 10 seconds. Oh, the sweet, sweet sound of those two strokes winding up through there right now. 200B class, and it is the 607 Colby Davis from Berkshire, New York on a Steve Hatch Racing Alias MX Max's tires back machine. That B30 plus class coming up next. 10 seconds. Wes Morris, Jeremy Stowobi, Tom Truex, Steve Lembruno, Gary Bissang, Ross Kennedy, David Murray, Neil Hood, Jordan Overfield, Matt Modick, Ben Conaway, Nathan Ham, and Marquez Gomez. I'm just going to call him Mickey Gomez. That's it. Out of Marlboro, Mass. Here we go. 609 grabbing the early lead in this one is Jordan Overfield from Morgantown, West Virginia. O'Neill, Leat, and Twin Air sponsored rider. And our final row set to take off the Open B in 10 seconds. Matt Swords, Ryan Kerr, Matt Ruffy, Jacob Barnes, Joshua Webb, Corey Burton, Drew Norris, Hamilton Allport, Michael Chandler, and Skylar Ayers. And our final row off and rolling here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. Ooh, fancy footwork there. Wow, 228, I think it's going to do that after all that. A 328, and that's Ryan Kerr from Westerville, Ohio, taking the early lead in that one, and that's going to wrap up the starts here from the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. We're going to head on up and check things out here in a few moments and check out the action up front. Wow, a great start by Ryan Sipes there a few moments ago with Caleb Russell hot on his rear wheel. How's that all going to pan out? Stick around. GNCC Live continues right after this.
Grand National Cross Country. A race like no other. 3 hours of battling in the toughest conditions a dirt bike may ever see. And you get to watch it while relaxing anywhere you want to go. Right here live on RacerTV.com.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL's Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of ATV, UTV lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Lucas Oil Pro Motocross returns to the legendary High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for the 42nd annual Red Bull High Point National on Saturday, June 16, located just 5 miles north of Morgantown off I-79 exit 1. Be trackside when the dirt flies. Go to highpointmx.com. Feel the roar of speed-only motocross ring. The races start at 1 p.m. Saturday, June 16 at High Point Raceway. Visit highpointmx.com and we'll see you at the races June 16th.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track. And we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on RacerTV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. I'm Mikey Waynesby, joined alongside with Rodney Tomlin and Steve Hatch in the booth with us today. You, my friends, are looking at the Monster Mile here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC, round number 8 of this AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series, an AMA National Championship. There we go. Caleb Russell. Give me that mile marker one more time, guys. The Parts Unlimited section here. Mile marker 9. And that, my friends, oh yeah, your eyes don't deceive you. I believe that was Mr. Ryan Sipes right there running in the number 2 spot. All of our XC1 guys. There goes Thad Duvall. We had Caleb Russell, Ryan Sipes. Did we miss Trevor Bollinger in there, I think, in the number 3 spot? We had Josh Strang in 4th, Ricky Russell in 5th. That looks like it's changed up since then. There goes Lane Michael, 5-2-3. So some of our XC, these are still XC1 guys coming through there. But here we go. We've got some great racing action in store for you here today at the Dunlop Tomahawk, seeing more of our XC1. And now there we go, our points leader, Josh Toth. Well, it's close. It's a battle between him and Ben Kelly. He's your 2017 champ. I saw that number 1 plate. I think that's where it got me. Well, to get things started, we're going to show you some replays of the XC1, 2, and 3. And to get us started with the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Rapid Replay. And right out of the gate, boy, look at the start Caleb Russell got. But as it pauses there, it was Ryan Sipes who takes that whole shot. That's right, Ryan Sipes out here racing with us here this weekend. Then the XC2 start, I believe it was Mike Wachowski who got the jump on this one there. That, I believe, is him. So Mike Wachowski with a great start there out of the XC2 class. Working his way around. And then coming up next is going to be that FMF XC3 start. And I think it was Jesse Ansley with a strong start. He's going to be looking for a little redemption today. Look at that. Him and Jason Raines coming out early out front. But it does look like, there he is, Jesse Ansley with the whole shot. So there you go. That's how it started for us. And we're looking at the Monster Mile. And now we're looking at the track map for today. About an 11-mile course for you guys. And it packs a little bit of everything. It is absolutely beautiful out here. 11 miles is the track here for this afternoon's 3-hour race. You can see the Monster Mile as well as the FMF PowerPoint. And the spots I just highlighted, those will be our camera shots for today. Several shots for you. You can see the one down there by the 7. We've got 3 different angles we can give you guys. And Jared Bolton talked about that FMF PowerPoint before the show started, about how difficult that section is to begin with and how it's just going to continue to get more difficult as the race rolls on here today. So that's what we got in store for you. And, boy, it's going to be a good one. We're excited to be here. Of course, Thad Duvall coming off the win last round and looking for a back-to-back win performance. Caleb Russell and company out there rolling right along in this one. And how about the start for Ryan Sipes? That was great, man. Just good to see. Hi, fellas. Wave to the camera. There we go. A little drone shot of the facility out here. You can just see This is right before the finish, so we should be seeing our guys roll through here. And as they get to that finish, we'll get you some official updates on where these guys are at out there in this afternoon's race. But, boy, look at that view. I'm telling you what, and that does really, to be completely honest, doesn't really quite do it justice. You've really got to be here, but you're not. You're at home. You're watching. So that's what we're giving you. And it does look great. How about that drone shot, though? Big shout-out to Ian Howes on the drone shot. Every time he's around the track, now they're referring to him. He's starting to get recognized, and they're calling him the drone guy. So there's our rider. Look at that. About a second's difference there. Wow, look at that. That is just a great shot. Boy, look at the gap trying to separate. Caleb Russell trying to pull away a little bit into these open sections. A few more turns to get around, and we'll get some official times on just how close these guys are here to start the race today. Where would we be without the star has arrived? So the star. I've got Landon Wolf going to jump in the booth with me here in just a second. Landon Wolf, you're coming in just in time because you're seeing Caleb Russell cross the finish line. What's that lap number 1 time going to be? Well, I'll tell you. Your life scoring might be working faster than mine is. Let's see. Come on, computer. We know he's out front. How far out in front is he? Of course. Well, Landon Wolf joins me in the booth right now. We know Caleb is out in front right now.
Yeah, I guess Caleb got off to a second-place start, correct? And,
yeah, correct. It was, I believe, Sipes got out in front early in that one.
Yep, and Caleb made quick work. Trevor's hanging on to him there, but Sipes, I believe, is in the number 3 spot. At least I saw him over here in this field over here. Sipes hung on to the number 3 spot. Everybody's still pretty tight. I think in these fields it's going to be getting a little dusty, so that might open up the gaps a little bit, but time will tell.
You're absolutely right. And, man, how about the start for Trevor Bollinger in that number 2 spot, trying to keep pace with Caleb Russell? This is almost similar to what we saw yesterday on the ATV side of things with Chris Borch and Walker Fowler. Now we got it on the bike side. A little more separation, but how much difference? You know what? Landon, you raced this morning. You raced in the AM race. So what can these guys expect from this track today?
It's much slicker. I've never raced on a dirt bike here, but it's much slicker than I was expecting, although it's very dry out there. It's got a lot of flat rock. Ground's moist in the woods, which the conditions are actually perfect, but a lot of small chop, but as you can see here in these fields, that is going to be a little bit of a separator for everybody. I know Jeff Russell's been out there watering the track as much as he can, or watering the field sections as much as he can, but it's just tough to keep that much dust down.
Well, Landon, take a look at this. You folks at home, if you're watching live scoring, you already know this. But Caleb Russell, your leader, get this. Your number 2 rider, Josh Toth, out of the XC2 with the adjusted time, is sitting in the number 2 spot. So that bumps Trevor Bollinger down into 3rd. Ryan Sipes 4th. Ricky Russell rounding out the top 5. Thad Duvall checked in the number 6 spot. Strang officially in 7th. Stu Baylor behind him in 8th. Lane Michael in the number 9 spot. Craig DeLong rounds out the top 10. Craig DeLong also XC2 rider, so that puts him in the number 2 spot in the XC2. But, man, how about Toth? Already a 32-second lead out there. And where is Ben Kelly?
I noticed in the first or second corner, Ben Kelly stalled the bike. I believe it was the second corner, stalled the bike and had troubles getting it restarted. So he actually went into the woods in last in XC2 class. So he's going to have a long day of working through the pack and trying to salvage as many points as he can. But I was over here in the field just a little bit ago, watched the leaders come through, and saw the whole XC, or most of the XC1 class come through, and Toth was on rails. He was really, it looked like he had his head down, charging hard, and looking for a good finish today here, obviously, and maybe even jumping on an overall podium.
Boy, he's off to a pretty darn good start. We got a lot of racing left, though. 3-hour race for us here today. Trevor Bollinger, as he went through, getting a look at the Monster Mile now. The 1, 2, 3. Was that Austin Lee?
No. That was Trevor there.
That was Trevor. I'm seeing things.
We missed.
Okay,
so
this is
Caleb coming through.
There's
they came on just a
Sipes.
little bit late, and then Trevor and Sipes. But yeah, this is. I guess this will be about the 1 or 2
Ricky
mile
Russell.
marker.
Good to see Ricky Russell up there. I mean, he's had some ups and downs this year. I think 1 podium, but I was kind of curious to see if he's going to start picking things up today. The last time he had a win last year in snowshoe. I thought maybe next or in a couple weeks we'd see some big things out of him. Ricky Russell said, enough is enough. I'm ready to run with the boys up front.
Yeah, Ricky Russell, he's really been showing flashes of really good stuff here recently. Somebody knocked down a monster can off the tree there, but
spilling out all over the track.
It's valuable stuff. There, right there, you got the #1 XC2 rider of Josh Toth. If he can get himself up there with those XC1 guys and start mixing it up with them and go towards the front of the pack, that could be incredibly beneficial for him. He's already made the advancements to the XC1 class. Now he just needs to run with them, and like we said earlier, he's already got a 1-minute time adjustment. So he's actually, I looked there, 10 seconds behind Caleb at the finish line.
That's incredible. That is something else. The lap time for Caleb Russell on that, to give you an idea, 18 minutes and 55 seconds. And Josh Toth, 18 minutes, 56
Oh, it's 1
seconds.
second,
It's
not
1
10.
second.
Yeah,
Are you
1
kidding
second.
me? Talk about running pace right there. Man, if they're up front, if Josh Toth can somehow manage to physics, it's going to be confusing. We're going to have to look what color the #1 plate is.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 #1s. 2 #1 factory FMF KTM out front, so a good start to the day for those guys. We'll see how it goes. There is the #1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee.
There's the Mohawk I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was all kinds of confused.
Here they come back out into the backside of the field section. Caleb Russell still out front. As you can see, that dust out in the fields is keeping them separated a little bit. It is dusty.
So Caleb Russell pulling one out of the Thad Duvall book from a couple weeks ago, man. That John Penton was just, it seemed to be all Thad all day, and Caleb said, you know what, my turn. I want to give it a shot now. But again, a lot of race left, and Trevor Bollinger off to an incredible start for him.
Down rider there in that corner. Yeah, what a start. I mean, he, like he said, he must have wrote down what Thad did at Penton, because this is exactly what he did. Got a good start and took off, and I think that's the only way at this point we're going to see any gaps in between Thad and Caleb. They're so close in speed that this is the only way that we're going to have gaps, just having a better start, a good bit of a better start.
So as we take a look here at these guys ripping through this course today, Caleb Russell, your points leader out front. Thad coming off the big win there in the last round with 181 points on the season's got him in second. Stu Baylor Jr. with 135 on the year in third. Trevor Bollinger having a great race today. He's fourth in points, could use a good finish here. And Josh Strang rounding out that top 5. And how cool is that, though, that Sipes is here today? I mean, that's sort of not necessarily racing for points this year. If anybody at home is wondering where he's been, he's kind of doing a part-time this and that, and it's benefited him, and kind of an X factor out there for these guys today.
Yeah, he really is. He's one of the best riders out on the track right now, but I think he just wanted to sit back a little bit this year. I know he's having trying to enjoy his time a little bit more. I think he's doing some maybe some sprint enduro, maybe some motocross, and a GNCC here and there. And man, what a start for him! I mean, just to come to a GNCC. Is this his first one this year?
No, he's run a couple.
He
had some bike issues. I'm trying to think. It might have been.
Oh yeah, I do remember he had some bike issues
to start the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had some bike issues. But yeah, it's boy, when it started out, I mean, he had the whole shot, and then as they went into the woods, he's pulling away like Caleb is now. I thought, oh my goodness,
a 3-second lead
maybe
going into the woods. Yeah,
knows something we don't.
Yeah, he was on rails. He's got a motocross background, so these field sections are all hats to him.
It makes me laugh. I always think Johnny G nails it, which Johnny G, if you're listening, if you're watching at home, hope you're doing well, buddy. I believe what a broken collarbone yesterday.
Yeah, he actually just sent me a picture of it, and it's busted up. He actually did it in that corner right there. I believe that right-hander got him. So, yeah, hopefully he's doing all right, and I'm sure he'll be back before we know it.
But I always hear Johnny, he talks about his one thing about Sipes, man. They get in those open field sections, or if we've got a motocross section, he always says, who's the one guy you don't want behind you in the motocross section? The Supercross guy, Ryan Sipes. That's who you don't want. Hey, our monster can is back up on the tree. I don't know who did that, but thank you.
It's that guy standing down there. That guy's stand-up American.
Stand up. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're good to go. Is this oh no. Do we have some results for our XC3 class?
Let's take a look at the FMF XC3 My computer's being a little stingy on me this morning or this afternoon. There we go. FMF XC3, these 125. Jesse Ainsley, your leader after one, but boy, Jason Raines right on his heels. 1.780 is the difference. 1 second, 1.78 seconds.
The whole class is tight. Look at
they are
a 1 second gap, a half second gap, 6 second gap, and a 4 second gap between the top the 5 racers in the class.
That's anybody's race at this point. Early on with those 5 riders, Ryan Lojak in the number 5 spot, 4.5 seconds back on Alex Teagarden. Alex Teagarden coming off a win there in the last round, running 4th right now. Jason Longenbeck is in the number 3 spot. Jason Raines 2nd. And Jesse Ainsley, who was not on the box last round, you know he's looking for some redemption here today and try and pick up a win, get back in control of this point standing.
Yeah, he got off to a good start. I believe he got the whole shot in the XC3 class and has held it ever since then. There is Caleb Russell coming through.
Bollinger looks like he's gotten a little closer now.
Got out of the fields, got back into where there's no dust, and man, they've put a little bit of a gap on the on 3rd place, which should be Sipes. Yep, here comes Ryan Sipes right now. So, yeah, like I say, got out of those fields, got out of the dust, and he's back into the woods and closed the gap back in on Caleb Russell. So we got Sipes in 3rd, and then Thad Duvall is up to the number 5 spot, which I believe he was in the 6th spot. Ricky Russell in the number 6 spot.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm watching this XC3 125 Pro-Am class start. It was pretty interesting. Jason Raines and Alex Teagarden battling for that early lead as they went across the whole shop stripe and then threaded the needle. Jesse Ainsley went right on through, took over the lead, and that's pretty much, I think, the way it's been since that time, and they're about as close as they were the last time I saw them going around turn number 3 right now.
Yeah, like I was saying, that whole class is tight. Here we got the number 1 of Josh Toth coming through, hanging in there. Man, we should have put a clock on him to see if he's gaining or losing on Caleb. We'll have to catch them next time we get them in the camera. Here we got some of the amateur riders coming through the finish line area for their first lap of many today. What was the lap times?
Looking at an 18:55 on this first lap by Caleb Russell.
Okay,
Josh
but the first
Toth,
lap is short.
Josh Toth in 18:56.
Yeah,
was
we
leading.
were talking about that.
Yeah, is the XC2 250 Pro 2nd place overall. This is pretty interesting. And wow, to start out, we haven't seen, we see this oftentimes in the ATV side of things, and we have in the past seen this on the 2-wheel side of things, but not so much recently. We've got Josh Toth in that 2nd place overall position with just 1 second apart after time adjustments and things, and it's pretty crazy how that all works out. And right now, as we're watching this race unfold early on, the track conditions, as always, when you come into a facility, your course conditions are always, you're wondering. And the one thing that we faced here a lot in the past, the first 3 years of racing, has been dust. And it seems like every year we come, it has been dustier and dustier and dustier. However, this year we had forecast of showers coming into the weekend, and there was rain earlier in the week, I believe. And one thing that we can say is that the track is absolutely about as perfect as it can be. It's a little bit dusty on some things out there, but all in all, this race course is about as perfect a one we've ever had here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. And we caught up with a few of our riders this weekend, and they gave us their take on what they thought the track was going to be like this weekend.
It looks good. Honestly, looks identical to last year except turned around, which is good. I mean, it was good last year. The fields are going to be a little dry, but the woods, the moisture looks really good. So it's a little rocky here, but it's like the flat rock, so it's not like you're, riding on little razor blades out there like some of the places. So I think it's going to be fun.
It looks good. I mean, nothing real hard, but dust in the fields, and the woods are actually pretty good. It's usually slick here, kind of deceivingly slick with the shale rock and the hard clay, but I don't know. It looks like there's moisture, so at least the woods aren't dusty like the fields, and I don't know, it looks like it should be fun.
Yeah, the course looks pretty good, considering it's a little bit dry and dusty out in the fields, but there's so much overgrowth in the woods that it keeps the moisture in the ground, and which, in theory, like here, usually moisture in the ground means good traction and nice tacky dirt, but this place is slick when it's like that. You know, it's almost more traction when it's dry. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. There's just a bunch of shell rock. It's not like big round rocks. It's just small, flat, slick shell rock. But yeah, it's looking good, and I'm looking forward to getting out there today and hopefully get up front. And I really want to win at this place. I've never won here. 3 years. This is our 4th year here. Still has eluded me.
Well, I tell you what, definitely each one of them have their own take on it. I think Caleb had a pretty good take on it himself, especially I think he's probably studied this one a little bit more, considering he has not actually won here. And join in booth right now with someone who might be one of those folks that look at the course conditions too. He comes from Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, and we're talking about Rob Fox. Rob, welcome to GNCC Live here, and welcome back to the Dunlop Tomahawk.
Thank you. No, I'm always excited to come here every year. It's a race that's fairly local to me and close to our warehouse and our production plant in Buffalo, New York. So it's a quick trip for me, and I always enjoy checking out the GNCC races.
Yeah, I know we've had a lot of fun here today too. Last year I think we started this Dunlop trivia thing, and we've given away a lot of cool prizes and Dunlop swag today, and I think a lot of the race fans around the racetrack have had a lot of fun with that, so certainly appreciate that. But you know, as much fun as we've had doing that, your main focus here is just to let folks know that Dunlop Tire is still here in full force, and you guys have got some amazing things going on, and you're working on some amazing things still.
Yeah, no, we're always advancing and always looking to see how we can improve our product in each and every race. So we're here checking out races and working on new development stuff, so we're always looking ahead. And this year we're excited. We have a new soft intermediate tire, our GeoMax MX33, replaces our very popular MX3S, and that new tire is available from 10-inch all the way up to big bikes, and including the 18-inch rears for all the woods guys.
A little bit of a change there in our running order as we saw Ryan Sipes going through there with Thad Duvall right on his rear wheel. It looks like that Thad has gotten around Ricky Russell's. Russell checks in 6th, and Strang Baylor, I should say. Lane Michael back in 9th. Craig DeLong rounding out the top 10 as we roll through this 7-mile marker out here. It's Rocky Mountain ATV-MC section, as you see a nice little off-camber uphill section. And here comes your leader in the XC2 class, and that's Josh Toth, and he is in amongst our XC1 class riders, and that's why we see him in the overall on time adjustment just 1 second off pace. And I got to tell you, watching him ride right now, I have to think that he may still be well within that time frame, maybe even gained a little bit of time out there. We might see Josh Toth in the overall whenever this thing is all said and done at the end of lap number 2 if he continues at this pace. We've seen Corey Buttrick going by there just a moment ago. He was actually running 17th overall, but I think about 12. Actually, it looks like he might have moved up a couple of spots there here in the XC1 class, so we'll get a chance to look at that coming up in a little bit. More of our XC2 pro guys, the 250 riders, checking in with us as well. I believe we saw the second place ride of number 8. Yes, Craig DeLong checking in there at the 7-mile marker, just the rider that just went through a moment ago. Should be seeing, and Ryder Lafferty should be checking in there, and there he is, I believe, the 336, and the 198 of Liam Draper was right on his rear wheel. That was 3rd and 4th. They're still running pretty tight. Draper's actually reeled Lafferty in. Lafferty was about 2 seconds behind DeLong in the 3rd place position, but he's lost that time. He got back up, it looks like, right in front of Liam Draper there. Austin Lee back in the number 5 spot in that XC2 250 Pro class right now, as we are 37 minutes into this battle. And look at that. There went, I believe we saw Austin Lee, Nick Davis, Jonathan Johnson, and was that Pascal Rockenecker going through as well back in the 8th place position. What about that KTM 530, Ben Kelly? Ben was having some issues. We should be seeing him, if maybe he was in that mix as well. He might have been earlier, about midway through that last pack that rolled through. There's Caleb Russell making his way out, and look hot on his rear wheel, the 739 of the JCR Honda ride of Trevor Bollinger. And one thing again to point out here, the number 1 of Caleb Russell is yet to win at this Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC, and Right now, he has gotten a great jump off the line, got a good run on lap number 1. Lap number 2 starting to stretch things out, except he's got company back there, and that's coming in the form of that young 739. I think, he's been working diligently to get some wins under his belt. We've seen him on a podium a lot over the course of the last few years, on and off, and recently maybe not the results he's been looking and wanting, but today is a whole new day for that JCR Honda ride of Trevor Bollinger, as he is right on the rear wheels. There is Thad Duvall. Looks like he's gotten around Ryan Sipes now, unless Sipes is out ahead. Nope, Thad has gotten around Ryan Sipes for that 3rd place position. Now Sipes drops back to the 4th place position in this open field section. And look at the dust kicking up. Again, we talk about this dust. Rob Fox, you're joining us still here. And, we've seen these conditions in the past, but not, they're a lot more favorable this year. And the wind's blowing, and it's helping keeping things down. But, looking at this condition of track, man, what kind would you choose? What would you suggest? A hard pack tire? I mean, a soft tread tire or a hard tread tire?
Yeah, no, it's definitely tricky. You saw in the picture before, the track has a lot of rocks and weeds and stuff like that. And then we also go out to this field section, and it gets pretty soft and dusty and marbly, and then you have the cushion on the outside. It's almost like a flat track setup. So we're recommending our AT81 rear tire, which is our all-terrain off-road tire that's made for this kind of conditions, that works in both sides. It's an aggressive tread pattern, a little bit different rubber compound, and a different construction. So that's what a lot of these guys are running. That's what Caleb Russell runs. That's what all the Dunlop supported riders are running the rear. And in the front, it's more of a feel. So some guys are running the new MX33 front and having good luck with that. And then some guys are running our AT81 front as well. So the front is more rider preference, how it feels, and of course all these guys are running Moose inserts, so there's no risk of flats, and it helps absorb the bumps as well. So there's definitely some different setups you can do, but for right now the track is working pretty well for our AT81 rear and then our MX33 front.
Very nice, and that's something you guys worked on developing. As we see Sipes going by, still trying to chase down our 3rd place ride of Thad Duvall. I think that Sipes wants to play spoiler and wants to win, but he also realizes there's a very heated championship. Ricky Russell making his way through here at about the I think this is the 9.3 mile marker, is still behind him. Is in the XC1 class there behind Ricky Russell. We see, I believe, Stu Baylor was back there. Did we see? I was looking away. I think I might have missed Josh Strang going through on the 1.4. Nope, there's Josh Strang right there. Looks like he may have dropped back a spot or two, as we've seen a couple of those red number plates going through there. There is the, was it the 18? I missed the number on that one. Boy, these guys are just railing through these woods right now. I mean, they've got this dialed in.
It's like a moto track with an outside rut that they're just railing, so it's pretty cool to see.
It really is. And once the track develops like this, I mean, the speeds get incredible because they have the opportunity to use the tools of the berms and things like that to get through these turns a lot quicker. And you got to hand it to these guys to go at these speeds like they do in the trees and rail those kind of turns and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a moto background, so to see these guys go this fast through the trees like this and for this long is mind-blowing. And I know a lot of guys watching, they do this every weekend, but I give you guys some credit. It's definitely not easy to see these guys, push this hard, and then see XC2 riders move on up and catch up to the XC1 guys is even more impressive. So it's really cool to see.
It is. We saw the number 8 of Craig DeLong making his way through. I believe still the 2nd place position holder, 10th place overall in the XC2 Pro class. See more green number plates, and I think we're seeing Caleb Russell making his way into the final stretches here. This is the battle for the lead. Again, Caleb Russell and Trevor Bollinger as they work their way through the final little section here to the Amsoil finish line here at the Tomahawk GNCC. And look at this. Caleb Russell's trying to spread his wings out here. You can see that. I saw him in that field section a little bit ago, and I felt that maybe he thought that Trevor was a little too close for comfort for him. And Trevor's kind of an unknown variable whenever you look at the big picture because, number one, he is a very, very good rider. Number two, when he gets up front, he is very strong and tough to beat. And number three, he hasn't really had a chance to tangle head-to-head with Caleb. But we've also heard that things have been going well in some other races, and also I think that Trevor might have a bad taste in his mouth from some things that may have taken place, getting some losses that he didn't feel that he needed, that he wanted to win. So he's really dug deep within himself, and you see what it's done for him here today. It's brought him right up on the rear wheel of Caleb Russell as we roll in to our second lap complete. Going to be a little bit longer, as we pointed out. We got a little longer track on the second lap and so forth after the first lap, because the first lap we start about a mile or so into the course. So we're going to add a few minutes onto the lap times after lap number 1 and lap number 2. There's our leaders once again, and Caleb Russell maintaining still a fairly comfortable pace and lead. And honestly, Trevor is right, I think, kind of where he wants to be. As much as he would like to be in there, putting the pressure on Caleb, this is a great opportunity for him, Rob. And I think you know this. Sometimes it's good to follow, to learn these guys' lines, see where they're going, what they're doing, and what kind of tricks they may have up their sleeve.
Yeah, you know, it's a long race, so you don't want to push too hard and get too close. You got the roost coming at you, you have rocks, you have dust, and so he's kind of looks like he's just pacing himself there to make sure he keeps up with him, but keep enough pressure to keep some pressure on the leader. So this is a really cool view. So you can see the difference in terrain and how it is tricky for us as a tire manufacturer to see how varying the terrain gets at a GNCC, which makes it that much harder. And it's a big degree of change too. It's not just like a small change. I mean, from one section of the track a couple miles, I mean, it's a totally different kind of type of race course. As more riders checking in, Russell is in second lap 24:11.2, Trevor Bollinger 24:11.5. Kid is on fire right now. Thad Duvall is in 23 seconds flat behind Trevor Bollinger right now in that number 3 spot. So that kind of puts him about 25 seconds right now behind the number 1 of Caleb Russell. Here comes Ryan Sipes in now. He is 5th overall after that first lap time adjustment. He's going to check in, I believe, in the 4th place physical position, and we'll have to wait for Josh Toth, whom we've seen very far up in the XC1 Pro Class rankings there about midway through this lap. So I have to think that we're going to see still a threat coming from the 206 of Josh Toth, unless he slowed down his pace somewhere on this racetrack here on lap number 2. More riders checking in. Ricky Russell checks in 5th. Stu Baylor is 6th. Lane Michael in 7th. Grant Baylor is 8th. Josh Toth now still not checked in, and there he has checked in. He is now 4th place overall after time adjustments, and his lap time 24:37. That was about a 20-second slower lap than Thad Duvall. So those guys have really picked up pace up front, Russell, Bollinger, and Duvall. Now the question is, we know that Russell and Duvall have the fitness. We know that Trevor Bollinger, when he rides his own pace and makes that late race push, has a lot of endurance. But if he races at this level at the beginning of the race, does his level of endurance, is he going to be able to last? That's going to be the big question. Right now, I don't think he's thinking a whole lot about that. He's thinking about getting out front of Caleb Russell and trying to win here in the great state of New York. As we check with more riders checking in right now, looking for that second place position in the XC2 250 class, and still haven't seen Craig DeLong check in. He was a lap ago. DeLong was 32, almost 33 seconds behind your leader. And that class, again, the number 1 of Josh Toth. So Josh really riding rails out there and seems to be riding like a man on a mission up here in the great state of New York. Maybe feeling a little more at home, being closer to that New England area over there. So maybe that's making for that. As we check in, there's, I believe, Strand going down through the pits now. Don't expect and anticipate any pit stops from any of our riders here early in the race unless there be some kind of trouble. And honestly, I really haven't heard of any troubles since right off the start. So, wow, we're doing some calculations here, and we're hearing rumors that Thad Duvall was actually able to make up 10 seconds in the last mile of racing heading toward the finish line. That's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah, let's see if visually we can see how close that is if we get to stay on this view here. That was 1st and 2nd. Let's see where Thad's at. And should be coming up.
Should be seeing him about right now, actually, and... Did he lose time now? Because this seems to be widening quite a bit.
Okay.
17 seconds. So he has gained 5 seconds on it. Maybe waiting. It's like watching a water boil, I guess, or grass grow. You just wait and wait and wait, and it seems like there's never any accomplishments. But 17 seconds. So there has been about 6 seconds that has been shaved off that time. They've gained maybe another 4 seconds on it. But man, the pace that these front three are running right now, and seeing Josh Toth in the woods, it looks like he's still maintaining that kind of a pace. But wow, those front three have really wicked it up.
Yeah, no, here comes Sipes up there too. So they're all pretty close. I mean, if Russell and Bollinger, start battling, they could slow down or they can even pick it up a little bit. But you have Thad's right there to capitalize if needed.
Well, it looks like Ricky Russell has reeled in Ryan Sipes now for the number 5 spot. Stu Baylor not too far off pace back there. We see there is Josh Strang checking in as well. I don't think he's gotten by. Maybe he did get by a couple of these riders. There is the number 1 of Josh Toth. That is your leader in the XC2 250 Pro class. He is way up into the top 10, or at least top 8 there in the XC1 Pro class. So he's got the hammer down right now, and I'm not counting him out yet. Even though he's dropped back to a 4th place position, he lost 20 seconds. I know he's got the speed and capable of making up that time. Leaders crossing Carly Road out here as we had to close down part of the roadway to utilize the entire facility here at mile 2.5 as these riders make their way through. Still Caleb Russell out front, and I think that I got to wonder and think that maybe Trevor right now may be playing this dust game. You can see he's just laying back far enough to stay out of the thick dust, and he's also shifting over and using a different line to stay out of the main frame of that dust. These kind of conditions, though, warrant some defensive type riding. Sometimes when you get these guys late in the race tight together, you'll see them blowing those berms and kicking up those silt turns, trying to get more flumes in the air and more dust in the air, so it's harder for them to see and to traverse behind them. And right now, I tell you, the wind seems to be carrying any dust that happens to be being kicked up right now. So, I mean, ultimately, perfect conditions for our first time here and 4 runnings of the Tomahawk GNCC. Back out here at the Monster Mile. This is, I believe, mile marker 1.8. We're going to catch him with some of our XC2 riders, it looks like. We'll also check in to see how they are shaping up here as we look to that 16 to 24-year-old class. It was still Toth and DeLong. 51 seconds now that separate them, so DeLong has dropped back quite a bit. He turned to 24:56, 25:03 for Liam Draper in that number 3 spot. Got to hand it to the youngster out of New Zealand there. He's been. Here comes the battle for 5th place position now as we turn our attention to the RacerTV screen, and that battle, I believe, is still Ryan Sipes and Ricky Russell still making that push. We saw them going up the Monster Mile there a few moments ago and through some of those wood sections, and Ricky had literally, at the finish, I believe, had literally got caught on and was only about 2 seconds behind 2.8, and he's keeping Ryan Sipes pretty honest right now. You have to think and wonder, though, that maybe Ryan might have the advantage out in some of these open field sections. You see the way he rode the flat track and stuff?
Yeah, he has that moto background where these tracks where it's open like this come into play, and he's got that flat track experience recently as well. So you never know. He's definitely a good competitor and has a wide range of abilities.
He does. A super huge and wide range of abilities as far as riding a motorcycle. There's no doubt in my mind, and it's always such a joy and a pleasure to watch him ride. And his 3rd visit to the GNCC this season, some unscheduled stops. He originally hadn't, well, this was on the schedule, but he got a little bored and said, I got to come out and do some racing, and came out a couple of rounds ago, and good to see him back out here again in New York as wow, the battles are thick everywhere. Caleb Russell, Trevor Bollinger going at it. We see that Thad Duvall has gained now from a 23-second flat deficit to just 17 seconds now behind Trevor Bollinger from that 3rd place position. We see that Ryan Sipes and Ricky Russell are battling for 5th overall. That's actually 4th in on the track. So now it's turning into a 4-way battle. Stu Baylor and Lane Michael are also up there in the thick of things as well. And Josh Strang, though he's a little off pace, is not far out of it either, I don't think. So still plenty of room for a lot of great things to happen here. And Rob, I want to take this opportunity to say thanks to you, and you're welcome to stick around all you want.
I'm going to go into the woods and go check out some racing inside. I want to go see firsthand, get up and close, and that's one of the great things about coming up to a GNCC. You can come down to pro pits and watch them do pit stops. You can go into the woods and go get up right and close as you really want to, and really see the action up close. So it's really fun to come up here and see everything and check it all out.
Man, thanks for being a part of it. We appreciate
it. Yep.
Rob Fox from Dunlop Tires, and of course we're going to be joined again by Landon Wolf here in just a few moments as we look at the beautiful and scenic Seneca Highlands here as we overlook the Finger Lakes region and of course Watkins Glen, Montour Falls area. I mean, there's so many cool things about this particular region of western New York, and right now we are watching some very heated racing, and we got some heated information coming from Mikey Waynes.
Well, bike trouble here. Sounds like it might be locked up. Corey, what happened out there, man?
Bike just started losing a little bit of power there at the end of the second lap. Yeah, so I kept her to the hammer, and it locked up. It yeah, just had a motor let go, basically. Just unfortunate. It was just really looking forward to today. Man, yeah, just really disappointing. The first 2 laps really weren't going my way. Had 2 fall on the start, but still felt good. Definitely, it's going to be an interesting race because I could still see all the boys in front of me, and it looked like they were close. So, yeah, just disappointing.
Well, too bad, man. It's a tough break for Corey Buttrick down here. Guys.
All right, thanks a lot. And that is a heartbreaker there. I mean, I've known Corey since he raced 50s, let's put it that way, in District 11 in Ohio. And I watched him grow up in motocross as a young rider. I've seen him doing some moto racing, and I've seen him do an awfully lot of woods racing. And a true product of GNCC racing. He had to step away for a few years, rebuild his program, rebuild his career basically, and himself mentally, I think, and physically because of injury. And he comes back, and he just can't seem to get the breaks that he needs, you know. I mean, when things seem to start going well, somebody pulls out the battle for 5th, and there is the 514 now. Stu Baylor, who has reeled in Ryan Sipes for that 5th place position. So things are a-changing, Landon Wolf.
Yeah, so just a little bit ago we had a 4-way battle for 2nd, and it had...
There's Josh Strang up there now, and there's Grant Baylor.
So we're missing
Ricky
Russell and Lane Michael, because it was those 4 battling for the number 5 spot, and unless we missed Ricky and Lane,
they may have gotten around. They may have gotten around Sipes. So
right, maybe they did, and then that's what we're missing there. I can't believe that both of them would have had an issue. So
yeah. All right, getting an update now at mile marker number 5. Our leaders checking in. Caleb Russell in 1st place, back in 3rd place. Thad Duvall is 23 seconds behind Russell. He's still somewhere in the neighborhood of about 17 or so behind Trevor Bollinger, but 23 seconds behind Caleb Russell. So he's well within striking distance as we approach the 1-hour mark of racing. There's Lane Michael. He's kind of puttering along, and he's pulling off to the side there. I wonder what's going on with the 523.
Yeah, I think Barry Hawk there, he's definitely having some bike issues, so we did not miss Lane. The only person we're questionable about now is Ricky, but I think he did go through in front. But looks like Lane might have had a little get off or something like that. Looks like he's pretty bummed out about whatever did happen.
Yeah, he's definitely not moving very quick, but he is moving, so that is a part of the plus and the positive of this situation. So we found one, and the other still wonder what happened maybe to Ricky. Like I say, Ricky may have gotten away. As we check in with some of these riders through the Monster Mile, it is still Caleb Russell out front of Trevor Bollinger. Thad Duvall in the number 3 spot on a time adjustment. Josh Toth is running 4th, and now still up in the air who 5th place is, but looks like it may be Stu Baylor or Ricky Russell. Stick around. We'll find out just exactly who that is and how the rest of this is all going to shape up when GNCC Live continues after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best. The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL's Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of ATV, UTV lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
What is your passion? Hitting the perfect line, finding the perfect trail, routing the perfect adventure, or just living and breathing the moto life? Do you feel pride for a job well done after tackling a late night in the shop? Do you enjoy time spent with friends and family in the great outdoors? Spanning over 3 decades, one name has taken the lead for supplying the best powersport parts, accessories, and apparel to fuel your passion. One name that knows it goes beyond getting you the best prices, quickest shipping, or largest selection. One name that builds and innovates for our industry. One name that teaches, helps, and supports our fellow riders, racers, and organizations.
Lucas Oil Pro Motocross returns to the legendary High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for the 42nd annual Red Bull High Point National on Saturday, June 16th, located just 5 miles north of Morgantown off I-79 exit 1. Be trackside when the dirt flies. Go to highpointmx.com. Feel the roar of speed-only motocross ring. The races start at 1 p.m. Saturday, June 16th at High Point Raceway. Visit highpointmx.com and we'll see you at the races June 16th.
Hey guys, Mikey Wayne's here with 10-time WXC champion Tracy Pickens. You know, we come into each race weekend with our minds focused and set on racing, GNCC. We love it. But there's actually a lot to do outside of the track. And Tracy, where are we today and what are we doing?
We are at Watkins Glen State Park, located in Watkins Glen, New York. It's actually just south of Seneca Lakes where the wine trails are. But here we have 19 beautiful falls, and there's over 800 steps leading up through the gorge.
So Tracy and I are going to do our part. We're going to walk some of these 800 steps. It's going to be exercise for me. It's going to be a warm-up for Tracy. But we're going to check out these falls and see what this place has to offer. All right, guys, this is a cavern cascade. It is beautiful. I don't know where Tracy is. She's left me in the dust. I'm going to go find her, see if you can help me.
Come on, Mikey.
That's going to, you know what, no, let Tracy close it out.
Well, that's here from the beautiful Watkins Glen. Let's take it back to GNCC Racing.
Wow, was that not magnificent? That's a beautiful area around here. Thanks, Mikey, and thanks, Tracy, for giving us some insight into some of the things that go on outside the boundaries of the race facility itself. And we have a lot of great areas where we go to where it's things just like that, where you can find a lot of cool things to do. And again, thanks Tracy Pickens and Mikey Waynes for going out and giving us just a little glimpse of Montour Falls. There are actually, I guess it's Watkins Glen's State Park falls. Did they say 18 of them? Hey, let's pick up the racing action. Look at this. Talk about action. Within 3 bike lengths right now. Trail Trevor Bollinger in an open field section. I believe this is what, the 2.5 mile marker or somewhere around there?
This is about the 8-9 mile marker.
Okay, I'm on the wrong
like
side of the lap. We're at the 8.5 mile marker. We'll put it there. But look at this. Trevor Bollinger has reeled in once again the number 1 of Caleb Russell, and we have ourselves a battle coming to the finish line to wrap up lap number 3. And I have to say, this is probably the earliest and the toughest that I've seen Trevor Bollinger ride. He has got to be running on pure adrenaline right now, getting up there that early, and we know that he's got the training regiment. We'll see if it all pans out for him here today. Lane, I got to tell you, this is some good stuff. There is the 989, 14 seconds back. Thad Duvall is closing in on both those guys as they continue to do battle. We could have, by midway through this lap or 2/3 of the next lap, we could have ourselves a 3-way shootout for the number 1 position. When have we seen something like that? It's been a long time.
Yeah, not very often, but you can even tell just by looking at Thad coming through these field sections. He is on charge. He knows he needs to close in on those guys and mix it up for the number 1 spot. Here we got Stu Baylor coming through the field section at the 8.5. So is he?
I think he is 4th place in the XC1 class.
Yeah, and it looks like he has gotten away. So I think I just saw a flash of Ricky Russell back there. I was wondering where he was, but
yep.
So yeah, Stu Baylor into the number 4 spot. Yep, that is Ricky Russell behind him. So he'll be in the number 5 spot depending on where Toth is. But in the XC1 class, it is Stu, Ricky Russell, which we have on screen right now, and then I guess Lane is going to be out, but then Ryan Sipes, which is right there. There's Ryan Sipes coming through the screen there.
Yeah, and Josh Strangen moved up, it seemed like, was closing in on those guys a little bit too.
No, that might have been Josh. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think I might have just saw a flash of Grant. Here comes, yep, there's Grant Baylor just pulled off the track. I saw him jump off that corner right there, and he is headed into pits.
So not good news for that Teely Energy rider of Grant Baylor, as he must have some sort of an issue. We'll get Mikey Waynes down toward those pits here soon and try to get an idea of what might be taking place right now. And what a tough break there for the younger Baylor boy. But right now, it looks like Stu, things are going well for him as he's moved up closer to that top 5 position. And again, we're just now a little over an hour of this race, so we've got a couple hours still of racing to go. And these guys are making moves early on. Obviously, things stretched out, I think, kind of on that first lap. Now that everyone is settled into pace, they're starting to dig deep and get hungry, it looks like.
Yeah, they're all coming back together a little bit. Here we have Craig DeLong, the younger of the DeLong brothers, in the XC2 class. Is he running in the number 2 spot in XC2?
He was running second, about 55 seconds behind there in the XC2 250 Pro class.
Yep. And there we have Lane on screen. Looks like, I don't know, it looks like he's back to riding at least decently. I don't know what that issue he may have had in the woods. There's Grant in the pits.
Wow, look
definitely
at that.
A bike issue because he looks like he's all right, other than a little upset about obviously having some bike issues. But hopefully we can get Mikey down there to figure out what has happened.
Man, I tell you what, you can see just the look of frustration on his face right now. Drinking that water, he's been eating that dust out there. You can see that that beard is certainly picking that up and packing it up. And Mikey Waynes is standing by with Grant Baylor.
All right, guys, down here with Grant Baylor, visibly frustrated, man, and rightfully so. What happened out there, man?
I just made some passes. I made my way into 4th place, and 2 corners later, hit a rock and knocked a hole in the motor. So we're over here trying to get it fixed and get back out there and get some points, hopefully.
All right, Grant, man, hang in there, brother. Grant Baylor right there. Tough break for him here as he was just getting some momentum in today's race.
Well, I tell you, those guys they got all together, and I seen them in those wood sections there was a lot of changes going on, and I couldn't keep up with what was taking place. I didn't really believe my eyes, to be honest with you, but wow, battling for a top 5 and maybe going to 4th place there for Grant Baylor. 2 corners later, knocks a hole in the motor. That's a real heartbreaker for sure.
Yeah, what a shame. He definitely put on a good charge there on this lap, and him and his brother were actually seemed to be breaking away from the pack that they were in, and that's just how racing goes. It's just part of it, but definitely sad to see, and hopefully hopefully they can get it fixed enough to where he can go out and, you know, salvage a couple points for the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure, and a true heartbreaker for that rider, because it seems like when he gets on the cusp of greatness, something just comes and jerks the tablecloth out, you know, and he's just left standing there shaking his head, wondering what just happened. And hopefully things will start to get a little bit more consistent for him, and we'll start seeing out of him what we expect that we could and should see. And same thing for Stu. I think that we're starting to see Stu find his own out there, and we're starting to see a little more consistency out of Stu. The consistencies of inconsistency being all over the place. Hey, all right, well, look at this. Russell and Bollinger, are they in that lap traffic now?
They are, yeah. So this,
wow.
They've probably been in a little bit of it this whole lap, but they are getting into the thick of it. And you know, like we were saying yesterday, this can change the whole idea of this race, how it pans out. But you know, for either rider, for the leader or the follower. But right now, it looks like you know, just these first couple lappers have allowed Caleb to, you know, open up a 2-second gap, which isn't much, but as close as they've been, it's more than they've had all race. So, you know, maybe he is excited about it. But he is checking in for his second lap, right? Or third lap.
Third lap complete now as Caleb Russell checks in with a 24:19 lap time, a 24:20 lap time for Trevor Bollinger. The logistics of that, in reality, there's only 0.3 of a second difference in their lap time. A 24:19.9 and a 24:22 was what we saw. The difference in the that distance, 2.5 seconds as they cross the finish line.
Yeah, I tell you, they are at each other's throats right now. They got a great race going on. Trevor is really hanging in there well.
Thad Duvall up now just 13 seconds behind Trevor Bollinger, so that puts him now just 15 seconds behind Caleb Russell.
Wow, that's impressive. He came from a good ways back, and he's moving through the pack. You can watch him ride. You can tell he means business. And, you know, I don't know if he's using a lot of energy getting through, catching up. And when he does, or if he catches up, is he going to have enough to test those guys for the lead?
Well, an hour and now nearly 9 minutes into this race, and Stu Baylor makes his way in now, fourth place position, some 56 seconds back, a 24:38. As he battled relentlessly with about 4 or 5 different guys out there throughout that lap just to get to that position, and making up some major grounds out there, it looks like, is Stu Baylor. Still a ways off of a podium position finish, but he's got the day rolling in the right direction. Ricky Russell rounding out the top 5 now as he's 15 seconds behind Stu Baylor. He sees a 24:55 lap time for himself. Don't know whether it was a mistake or he slowed the pace down or whatever the case may be, but he's 5th now.
Yeah, we're just watching these guys come through pro pits. Looks like Thad is going to be pitting early. Could this be a strategy so that next lap when the other guys are pitting, he can roll right through? Looks like, are they, oh, that's gas cap. So yeah, he pitted early, lap earlier than everybody else. So that could put a whole new spin on this whole thing. Could be interesting to see how that pans out. There we got Grant Baylor.
And how about this? An hour and 10 minutes into the race. In theory, we've got another hour and 50 minutes of racing. I didn't see how much or little gas that Thad had used, but that may be setting him up for a 2 pit stop.
I would imagine, yeah, hour and 50 at his pace. I don't know. I'm not sure how these bikes are, but hour 50 on a fuel tank seems like a long time. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens there. I don't know. I'm guessing that his plan here is he pitted now. Next lap, the other guys are going to pit, and hopefully he can roll through and then come out on their rear tire.
Well, it's kind of hard to anticipate. I mean, if you do the math right now, we're looking at the possibility of what, 8-9 laps. I mean, if I'm figuring this right, 8 laps anyway. But we haven't heard anything official. But I mean, we're looking at 25 minutes right now.
It's going to be at least 7.
Yeah, 6 to 7 laps. 7 laps. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Oh, there goes Trevor. Just about lost it there on the Monster Mile. Those roots are slick there, but he saved it. Just barely saved it, and he's back on track. Going to try and chase down Caleb Russell, but. Like we saw yesterday in the ATV race, it's just a little bit of a gap could be all he needs to make it happen. There is Thad Duvall. I should have put a timer on him again to see how much that fuel stop cost him, but he's back on track charging.
I mean, and all things considered, it didn't really seem to cost him a whole lot appearing on screen anyway, in conjunction to where we saw and when we saw Trevor Bollinger going through there. But we'll have to wait and see what the tail of the tape on that one is, as we are thick now into some of this lap traffic, and we should be seeing another XC1 red background number plate checking in here. Oh, we got. See, that goes, again, you know, you look at this, it looks like, oh, that's just a little hill coming up through there. That hill's probably a little more challenging than it appears on the TV, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we actually, the morning class actually got to ride that, and I tell you what, the longer the race went on, the more it got chewed up, the tougher it got. But there's Stu Baylor working his way through the lappers on the hill climb, so no challenge for him, no challenge for those guys. But, yeah, it's a very steep hill, a lot steeper than it looks here on camera, but yeah, like I say, these guys know how to handle these situations, but the lappers do put a whole new perspective on how they need to do it.
Man, I just want to reach in there and grab one of those Monster Energy cans and slam it right now.
Yeah, I could use it.
I could too.
I could use
There'd be some chaos on over here right now. There's Ryan Sipes checking in now, still back there, I believe, 5th place, actually 6th place in class now, as he is riding behind Ricky Russell. I think we saw Ricky going through there just ahead of him as well, just a few seconds, 10 or so, maybe 15. But
there is Josh Toth off the side. So, like I say, I mean, this hill climb is gnarly out there. Even the best of the best. There's Jordan Ashburn, I believe.
Wow, that was, you talking about having to switch up lines in midstream. I mean, he did a great job of adjusting on that hillside.
Yeah, he sure did. It's tough, but here we got the leaders coming, going to go back over to the other side of the track here. And
about the 2.5 mile marker is what we're looking at right now, as Caleb, again, back out front. We've seen this scenario in the early part of the race, and there is Trevor Bollinger still trying to track him down. And, you know, I'm really impressed with the fact that Trevor is not letting Caleb get away at all. I mean, every time that, you know, it looks like there might be a little bit of a gap opening up, that's not the case. And like you brought up about yesterday's ATV race, we saw good battling like this through the first 3 laps of racing, and then a lapped rider got in between them once, and then all of a sudden it was a whole different ball game.
So I just put a timer on from Caleb to Thad, which is 1st to 3rd. At the finish line, it was 15 seconds. Thad came in and got some fuel, ended up 25 seconds down at this point from Caleb.
Well, I'll tell you that 10-second pit stop, it isn't too bad of a pit stop, to be honest with you, Landon, as we watch the racing unfold here on a Sunday, an hour and now 14 minutes into this race. And we keep alluding back a lot to the ATV racing. And, you know, Adam McGill, who unfortunately didn't finish on the podium yesterday, introduced to us to a pretty big thing that he's got going on as far as working with veterans and trying to help veterans. And one thing that he's doing, that there's a race, it's called, what is it, Vegas to Reno. And it's a desert race, and they do everything from ATV side-by-sides to the sport trucks and stuff like that they race. I mean, they race about everything. It's kind of like a Baja in a sense, if you will. And he's getting things together, and they're going to be heading out there, and they're trying to get some money together. And it's going to cost them a little bit of money to get out there, but what they're also trying to do is get more money on top of that so they can help spread things. Not only spread the awareness of disabled veterans awareness, but also to help out some families in need. And actually, we had a chance to catch up with our ATV racer, Adam McGill, yesterday to talk a little bit about that.
The GoFundMe page right on my Facebook. I think it's a pretty easy link, if I remember correctly. And just go right there, whatever. A couple cents, a couple dollars, actually a couple grand would be nice. Just playing anything you guys can have a hand with, we very much appreciate it. And when we're done with this race, our plan is to be able to donate some of that money that was raised back to either an organization or a military family that is in need of some help and some support. And, you know, like I said, the Gator can bring a smile to a lot of people's faces, and, you know, maybe we can do something a little bit different outside of the racing nation that we all know.
And and he puts a lot of faith in the Racing Nation, the GNCC Racing Nation, and talking about that help. And if you'd like to help that effort out, again, a lot of the funds, part of the funds will go obviously to help them get there, but anything over and above and beyond will be divvied out to that. And folks, I'll tell you, an hour and 16 minutes into this race now, we are rolling through the terrain of New York, Western New York. As a matter of fact, Caleb Russell out front of Trevor Bollinger. Thad Duval is running third. Josh Toth is fourth overall. Stu Baylor in fifth. And the rider featured on the event T-shirt, Ricky Russell. He's fifth in class right now. The old rough and rowdy one out there. And, of course, Ricky is fifth in class, sixth place overall right now. And as we said, he's featured on the event T-shirt this week. And, we always get to see some pretty cool glimpses of greatness out of Ricky. And we know that he's got a great support program riding with the the AmPro Yamaha team over there. And, of course, we had a chance to catch up with Ricky Russell for this week's edition of GNCC Rigs.
Hi, I'm Ricky Russell. We're up here in New York. Let's check out the Yamaha rig. It's the trailer. Nothing's really set up yet. Bikes are all upstairs. They're working on some minis, getting them ready to go. Tools. Looks like you got an engine going on. Bones. Getting wild. This is the sleeping quarters of the semi. Pretty much mechanics and stuff sleep here. Sometimes we got Mama Blue's special desserts in here. I don't see anything too special right now, but pretty much just couches, hangout area, and we get ready to race. It's my little guy. It's nothing crazy. Gets the job done though. Got the bed, couch. That's where all the action happens. Not really, but we get a good night rest. Feels good to be at the races for the whole weekend instead of hoteling it and van lifing. Lexi's ready to go. I'm Ricky Russell. You're watching GNCC Rigs.
Well, there you go, Ricky Russell on GNCC Rigs. They got a nice little show hauler over there, I guess. It's not a show hauler, but they got a nice little hauler over there at the AmPro pits. And joining us in booth right now is the one and only, the legendary Steve Hatch. Steve, welcome to Racer TV and welcome back here to the Tomahawk GNCC.
Thank you, Rodney. Yeah, it's always great to get back to the GNCCs, and especially where I grew up 30 minutes from here. And, some things never change, and it's fun to see all the smiling faces and remember a lot of them from over the years. So, typical race, I was just crawling around out there. I can't stand still, and I wanted to see all the racers. So I'm filthy and dusty, but typical. The woods looks really good, and out in the open stuff, it's really silty, and you got to decide if you're going to go outside and smash the berm or go inside and try to miss it. But there's a big ledge to get up and over that to get to the smooth line on the inside.
That's awesome, man. Sounds like the track is shaping up nice out there, and it's affording us an amazing battle. Did you get to see the Caleb Russell, Trevor Bollinger battle going on?
They are going at it, Rodney. Yeah, it's really impressive because I think it's, I haven't talked to Trevor, but it looks like their mission is try to follow him. Whatever Caleb does, just stick to his rear fender, whatever that is, no matter how long you can do it, would be my guess, and learn. And boy, Taylor, having Caleb, win all the championships and knows how to have race etiquette and strategy. He knows how to hit those corners. Now he's out in the woods some places and different things, and he's always picking the smooth, fast line and getting by lappers, everything. So it's going to be a good schooling for him to understand, and Trevor's definitely put in the work and fast. So we've been saying that the last few races when I was with you guys last.
Yeah, and we could be producing another major factor in a force for wins here in the XC1 Pro class, and we got to like that, man. I mean, we've always seen that in the ATV races. We've seen that depth of talent, the talent pool, and so many different riders could win on any given day. And we got to a point where a couple of different riders were expected to win on any given day, and if something happened to them, then somebody else might be able to win on the bike side of things. That's not so much the case anymore. I mean, we're seeing new riders' faces pop up. We've seen Ricky Russell take wins. We've seen, obviously, Thad Duval has taken wins, and Caleb, he's been doing his thing. Stu Baylor took a win there last year. Graham Baylor took a win there last year. Ryan Sipes. I mean, so everybody, we're getting a lot of hats in the ring and a lot of winners out there. So that's making, I think, for an exciting two-wheel championship.
Yeah, you're right. I was watching the talent go by out there on the grass track, and you know the top of every class, but the XC1 class is fast, and they are rolling all of them. And with a good day, you know, any of those guys, but it seems like the next one in line that's been, you know, pushing hard and getting his ammo together. And first time last year being in the big bike XC1 class, Trevor Bollinger has definitely upped it last year some, but this year he's really taken it to another level.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I like about it. I love seeing those extensions of personality where they grow and things just start to come together for them. And again, here we are about an hour now, 21 and a half minutes or so into this race. Still watching Russell and Bollinger at every chance that we get. Thad Duvall closing in on them. Stu Baylor back there in fourth place physically, but Josh Toth's one to keep an eye on this one. He was only a second behind Russell at the end of the first lap. He's a few seconds behind now. He turned a 24:51, so we're starting to see that gap on time adjustments open up between them and give him a little bit of breathing room in the top three. But Josh Toth still running a great race. Stu Baylor's running a great race. Ricky Russell, he's putting together some good things, and he really likes this New York track, telling me that this was, I believe, the first place he ever podiumed in a GNCC, oh, wow. And I think that was back in 2015, our first race that we had here, believe it or not. Then we had Ryan Sipes in seventh and Josh Strang. And Josh Strang's an interesting story. Josh, the 114 machine, is currently in an 8th place overall, 7th place in class. Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong behind them right now, and Liam Draper. But the thing about Josh Strang, wow, we've been waiting to see out of Josh Strang what we saw 2 weeks ago in Ohio, and it's like he said, I knew I had it in me. I knew I could go that fast, but I just didn't know if I wanted to. It was basically what he told me this morning in interviews, and wow, he certainly wanted to go that fast a couple of weeks ago, and he went that fast, and I'll tell you, he is certainly looking strong heading into this event, at least from a motivated standpoint. His standings right now may not be so great, but if you remember, is about halfway through the race whenever he started making some strides there at the last race, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting when they start to push and out there on the spot, like we were talking about Josh up in there with the guys and Ricky Russell and them. It's going to be interesting if he can pick enough lines to be fast enough in the woods, because in the open stuff, the 350s and 450s are a little bit faster, obviously, and exploding the berms on them. So when I was just down here behind us in these grass tracks, and he couldn't see anything, and that's a hard time to try to pass. In the woods is a good spot for Josh, but Toth.
And of course, with that, you know, it takes a teamwork, no doubt about it. Josh has got a great team member with him, and he. Just as a mechanic, I think that has really helped building, and not that he has had not the support in the past, but the guy that he's got now, man, I mean, just really seems to be dialed in. Michael Thompson, just an amazing addition to that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team, and we did have a chance to catch up with Josh's mechanic earlier this weekend.
Nice.
What's up, everybody? Michael Thompson, work for Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing Team for Josh Strang from Merida, California. Started working for this team through some previous jobs. I was engine builder for Moto Concepts, like doing motocross and supercross stuff. A little bit of privateer on the side, and then through that I just met a couple guys, and then I ended up meeting team manager Timmy Wagon, and now I'm doing GNCC off-road series with the team. Been doing it for about 3 years now. A lot of common questions on what goes on like during the week and like our race week, and like what do we do when we get home back in California. Wednesday is like typically like a day off for us, and then we fly out Thursday to the East Coast, wherever the race is that weekend. And then Friday we start bike building, so just tear this whole bike down to the bare frame and then build it back up all day Friday. A little bit of bike work on Saturday, just kind of hang out at the track, have dinner with the team and crew. And then Sunday's race day, and then after the race on Sunday, I go ahead and tear my bike all the way down, whether we got to ship suspension home, ship motor home. There's always something to be done. Yeah, I mean, on Josh's setup on his bike, just like, you know, fresh tires, fresh plastics and graphics every race, motor, suspension, a lot of parts. Like we can keep going for like 2 races. It just depends. But Strang's not really the type of guy that likes fresh parts like every single race week, and he kind of likes the bike like broken in a little bit. For these long GNCCs, like these bikes have to last 3 hours long, so you kind of got to use your better judgment on what you're going to reuse and what you're not going to reuse. So, but other than that, yeah, the bike's looking solid and ready to rip.
Definitely a great addition to Josh Strang's program. And on screen right now, we watched him come out of the woods, Steve Hatch, just a second ago, right on the rear wheel of Caleb Russell. Still the 739 JCR Honda ride of Trevor Bollinger. And wow, what an amazing ride. I mean, here we are approaching the hour-and-a-half mark, and he doesn't seem to be waning any whatsoever.
I'm not sure if you happen to see it, but he happened to look back, Caleb did, just briefly to go, man, he's still right on me. Are you kidding me? Because it looks like, I mean, it looks like Caleb's trying to be aggressive and smash some berms and make it so he can't see anything, and he's still determined and still right there. You're absolutely right, Rodney.
And there's another determined rider.
Yeah, he's coming.
He is. He's coming off of a win 2 weeks ago. He won here a year ago, so the momentum for him coming into this race in New York is pretty good, but he's also still got about 15 seconds or so ahead of him to make up to get into that battle for the first place position. And wow, I mean, I'm just sitting here and I'm envisioning over the course of, let's say, the next 30 minutes, that guy, that Thad catching up, and once he does, what it's going to be like after that. As Stu Baylor makes his way into sight physically, 4th place on the racetrack in the XC1 Pro class.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, is once, if that can catch him, that dust and silt everywhere is going to be a really big factor for, obviously, Trevor's making his way through it somehow, and by Braille probably, and praying to see anything, but it should be really good to have Thad get up there, and once all three, boy, the lines are really going to change, and the dust is really going to play a factor. And then in the woods, there's a lot of different lines out there here and there where they can cut straight or do things, and lappers are going to be a big factor because this is such a fast race. If you catch the lapper in the wrong spot and there is another line around it or in the silt, it'll make a big difference for someone to get by pretty easy.
Now, watching this section of the race course right here, I have to wonder, is this portion of the course, as Thad Duvall makes his way by now, is this anywhat deceiving as to what the rest of the woods are looking like? I mean, right here it looks a little tight, looks a little gnarly. You got a lot of logs laying around and stuff like that. Is it open? I guess there are some other open area, more open areas of the woods, right?
Yeah, that's a little bit. That's probably about I think 3 or 4 mile marker, I'd have to guess, or maybe a little bit later. But it seems like a lot of the woods that I walked yesterday, kind of flowy. Obviously, all the quads went through a lot of it. A few tight sections for just the bikes only, but it's kind of notorious for New York. It's got the 2 quad ruts and tree roots on both sides and some scattered rocks. Not many, but I was telling all my guys to ride the edges and try to use the sides because that's where the dirt is. Because down below it's all roosted out from the quads or the other bikes, so it's pretty shiny and slippery, and you almost can just spin like a top fueler and not go anywhere, even though you're wide open.
Yeah, that's what a lot of this. The slickness is what a lot of that shell, I guess, that you keep mentioning, and a lot of other folks. It's crazy how what looks, it's deceiving. I mean, this up here, you'd think it'd be one thing, but it's something totally different.
Yeah, and to bring up a kind of crazy point, I wanted to always do maybe an outdoor national one time during my career, and I was training with Paul Carpenter and Bob Canary and Nate Caney back in the day here in the summertime, and I said, I want to do Unadilla motocross, and they're like, it's so skatey, it looks beautiful from the sidelines, which we obviously raced it in the GNCC, but they're like, Steve, it's icy with rocks at a million. He said they said it was one of the sketchiest, outdoor tracks there was for moto. So I decided not to do it, but it was really icy, as we knew from doing the GNCCs there too.
Yeah, a lot of those river valley rocks down through there. They grow rocks at Unadilla.
Yep. At Broomtug, we used to do a rock and ride. We'd pick rocks for an hour and then get to go ride practice for an hour and then go pick rocks. So I grew up right there, and it was a pretty funny concept.
And there goes Ricky Russell by now. He's still running in that number 5 spot as far as the XC1 Pro class is concerned, but just as soon as you thought you got all the rocks picked, more came in.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't seem like we did anything, and there'd be 40, 50 of us walking around the whole track.
Whoa, look at this. Still, I can't believe this. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I cannot believe this, and taking nothing away from Trevor Bollinger right now, but this kid is not relinquishing any of the pressure whatsoever. When it looks like Caleb might get a little bit of breathing room, we catch the next shot, and Trevor is right there still right in the shadows of Caleb Russell, literally. You're seeing just maybe a few feet of difference there. Time-wise, it's next to nothing, really, especially at the speeds and the intensity that these riders are racing at right now.
Well, and the other thing I saw just from that cool drone shot that GNCC has, it's basically Trevor looked like he was absolutely going opposite lines, which you kind of have to anyway, but really good lines where he is not right in the roost of Caleb. So he's going outside, inside, inside, outside, just going the complete opposite of Caleb the best he can, and staying right with him, which is really impressive because usually one line's faster.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing that has kind of impressed me, and I pointed that out, how he just keeps him going from one side of the racetrack to the other, staying out of that. And so like you say, sometimes and most of the time one line is just a little bit faster, but Trevor's making every line equal out there. He's equalizing. He is the equalizer today.
Yeah, like Carmichael used to say, refuse to lose and just hold it on longer. Even if his bike wasn't set up or he was slower in practice, he'd just find a way. So looks like Trevor's determined today. This is the most aggressive, and he feels like and looks like he's got a tie down attached to Caleb's rear exhaust to his handlebars.
Now, I think we are somewhere near the finish line. Yes, we are closing into the finish line. We should be seeing now 4 laps in the history books as our leaders will be checking in. There is Caleb Russell, and look how close Trevor Bollinger still is out there. I mean, the dust doesn't even have time to leave the ground before Trevor Bollinger's already coming through right behind Caleb Russell at the finish line, the yellow flag. So no 2 lap boards, no white flags. We still got a long road to hoe out here. 4 laps are down. The official time deficit between the number 1 of Caleb Russell and the 7:39 of Trevor Bollinger now 1.521 seconds, and that is virtually nothing in the grand scheme of things as Thad Duvall's making his way in. He was 13 seconds back a lap ago, and as we get set to check in here for 4 laps complete for the 989, I believe that gap is now 28.9 seconds. That has opened up even more, and remember, this is the thing we got to remember. Remember that thick wave of lapped riders that we saw Caleb Russell and Trevor Bollinger having to carve their way through there in the early part of lap number 4. I think that may be what we see happening to possibly the 989 of Thad Duvall, but he may not have been as lucky to have ran into those lapped riders in an open field section.
Yeah, good point. It's really easy, especially like you said, if there's a kind of a parade of riders, you get 2, 3, 4 of them, and you get them in the wrong spot, and instead of out in these fields where you're going maybe, depending on the skill of the riders, a gear or 2 higher, you don't even slow down. You don't even lose a second off of your normal lap time, where if you catch them in the woods, you can lose 2 to 10 seconds per rider, and if there's 4, 5, 6 of them, really puts you back with
real fast
that mistake.
All right, they're coming into the pits. This is lap number 4 complete. Are these guys going to pit? And yep, they sure are. Both riders coming in for a pit stop. We see a fresh drink of water, fresh goggles, and a little bit of fuel for Caleb Russell. A lot of fuel for Caleb Russell as he's that bike just drank that entire about 2/3 of that IMS truck. What did that?
Said 3 laps to go. Trevor the minus something, and I think Thad minus something, but I couldn't read it that quickly. There's something about both of them.
Well, in and out go Caleb and Trevor. This might be an advantage for Thad in the end after stopping there a lap ago. He might be able to gain a few seconds, but 28 seconds, 29 seconds, call it basically, is a whole lot. But still half this race to go. Virtually as in time-wise, we're an hour and 34 minutes into a near scheduled 3-hour race. So 7-lap race is what we've been told now. So they have made that official. So with that, we are on lap 5 of 7. We'll be seeing the 2-lap board next time around. Mercy sakes, these boys have got themselves some work cut out for themselves.
Yeah, this is an exciting race, and just looking at all 3 of them that are on a mission to try to win it, obviously, it's not going to be a gimme at all.
So right now, looking, I'll see only 5 riders that have checked in with 4. Now we got a few more. We see Ricky Russell was in. He was 5th in class. Josh Strang 6th in class. Still waiting on Ryan Sipes. Don't know where he's at. He seems to be fading back a little bit as the race wears on. But look at this. Josh Toth, still a solid top 5 in the number 5 overall position.
There goes Caleb, and see if, yep, right there's Trevor. So after, he wanted a monster.
Yeah, he needed a monster. He's unleashing his beast now. I love those
There's
monsters.
Thad right there.
He looks closer. That 10 seconds really made a huge difference. He might have been able to make up a little bit more than that as well. I mean, I was just basing that on how long it took and how much time he personally lost when he did the pit stop the lap before. So interesting. It does still seem to be about 20 seconds or so, but it may not be exactly what he was hoping for as far as panning out and paying off, but it is paying some dividends, I think, here on lap 5.
Yeah, and I think, Rodney, that he might be in a good spot. I mean, obviously, Caleb is pinning it, and then Trevor, but I think if he can get it so he's not in the dust and can ride up on him on this lap potentially and then put the hammer down, because I think he started a little ways back, Thad did, and he's catching him, but it's going to be, if he can get it now, I think it's the time, because once they see that 2-lap board, they're both going to pin it even faster, smash berms, and it's on, because it's such a fast race. It's definitely going to be physical, but in my opinion, these guys could ride this for 4 or 5 hours, you know, and get it so that they could still go fast, because it's not as technical, except for that spot. One tree root that guy found. So now we know why Trevor kind of decided to have a little bit of the monster. It's being exposed, and they're hitting it hard with their front wheel, right?
Exactly.
You know, you can see it right there. But the speed's so fast, a little bit easier than some, like obviously Millfield with the mud a couple weeks ago.
Right, yeah. And I love the varying degrees of the different terrains and conditions and what they do for us as far as the racetrack and so forth.
So that part right there, you just saw real quick on a skilled side, Stu came to that same spot with a tree root at an angle, so he lofted his front wheel and then pulled in his clutch, and I teach that at my classes a lot, so for you riders listening, I want a few heads up.
Caleb trying to pull away out there at this 2.5 mile marker, and finally it looks like maybe a little bit of breathing room is starting to open up, as he is about maybe doubled or tripled the gap that we saw there a few moments ago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting right now to see if he can pull it back in at all. There's a couple lap riders, and obviously with the gas, it's close, but right now will be the deciding factor, because they come down this hill, have a right, left, and then one more right and a left into the woods, and we'll see if Caleb can pull apart. Right there's Trevor on the left. It's going to be close.
It is. You know, one thing you can say about Caleb Russell, this rider has probably been under fire and under pressure as much as any champion, as we see Josh Strang going through the Monster Mile right now. As any champion we've ever seen, through the youth ranks, through the amateur ranks, right on into the XC2 Pro-Am class and right into the Pro class. I mean, competition has surrounded Caleb Russell, but it always seems like he seems to rise above everything. I mean, 5 championships, you know, I mean, he's looking at the winning, you know, he owns the most records of wins in GNCC on 2 wheels right now, and it's pretty impressive stuff that he's got going on, and no doubt, but that's the impressive thing that I think is about Caleb. He gets the competition, but at the same time, and it comes from so many different people, he rises above and is able to push. And, you know, we had a chance to catch up with Caleb and talk a little, and we got actually, what we got, that was Ryan Sipes there at the Monster Mile. He's back in about 10th place position right now. He's dropping way back. But as we were saying, we did have a chance to catch up with Caleb Russell and talk to him a little bit about the competition, what it's like in these types of battles and things.
No, I mean it's racing. There's always going to be competition. So yeah, Thad's going to be there. I wouldn't expect anything less at this point. And yeah, I mean, it's like those guys looking at me like they've had to, you know, for anybody to win, they've had to go through me for 5 straight years. So I mean, if anything, I guess they go into every race knowing that they're going to have to deal with me. So why would I expect anything different? I'm gonna, you know, I don't look at it any differently. You know, I know I'm gonna have to race the guys and beat them straight up, and that's what we'll do. No, I mean it's racing. There's
and that's exactly what it is. And, you know, the one thing that, you know, he hasn't alluded to is exactly what I said. Has he not been one of the most, I mean, he's had a lot of, I mean, everyone does, but it just, obviously, he's a fast rider. He's got that target on his back, and everybody's gunning for him. And just like he said, when they come to the racetrack for the last 5 years, he's been the one to beat.
Yeah, no, he absolutely has.
Well, as we continue to watch the riders go through and we catch up on what's going on with our riders that we see on a more regular basis, we are watching now Ryan Sipes. And Ryan got off to a great start, got the whole shot, battled up top in the front 5 there for the first hour or so. The last half hour has been taking its toll on him, and You got to say, well, for obvious reasons, he has been racing GNCC so much lately, but he has been pretty busy doing a lot of different motorcycling feats. We've seen him at a few GNCCs. We've heard of him doing some motocross and supercross, and actually even a little flat track and TT and stuff, and we actually got a chance to catch up with him as well.
So I've been doing, of course, the sprint enduros, and those are always good for your grass track speed and really for the tight wood speed too. So you kind of got a little bit of both there. But the flat track stuff, the techniques are way different, but I still feel like I learned from it. Just how to find the traction when there is none. So in grass track, I've felt better this year than ever. So I think that's going to be good. And the woods, I mean, there's only one tight section here. That's normally my weakness, is the tighter stuff. But you know, like I said, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to try to run with him as long as I can. And I think all the other stuff I'm doing it keeps it fun for me, and I learn, you know, just well-rounded. So maybe I can carry more speed in a section that, you know, the other guys doing only wood stuff, maybe I'll be a little quicker there. So hopefully. So I've been doing, of course, the sprint enduro.
And, of course, he has been a busy, busy boy. And, you know, I got to commend Ryan Sipes to be able to find this place in his career and be able to do the things that he's able to do.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's into everything. And he comes up every year and stays at my place. And the last couple of days he's been staying with me and rides trials on Friday, and then, you know, walks the tracks Saturday. And last night we were watching the flat track he did 2 weeks ago. He was over in Spain for a week and a half doing a photo shoot with Liat. He's a busy man, and he can ride anything with two wheels, and pretty neat to see him in straight rhythm and all sorts of stuff. So
yeah,
when kind of helping him and mentoring here and there with him on some ideas, I'm like, Ryan, you're one of the guys that could do everything. Why don't you have fun with it? And he's really enjoying it because he's got a family and busy, so it kind of mixes it up instead of just one series.
It most certainly does. Mikey Wayne standing by in the pits. He's in the JCR pits. Sounds like excitement.
It is. It's a good day if you're Trevor Bollinger here with Johnny Campbell. Talk to us about what's going on with Trevor and what was going on with Austin Lee here in the pits just a moment ago.
Well, Trevor's having a really good race right now. You know, we got a really good start, so he was able to keep up on Caleb and just pace him. You know, strategy. We know that those guys are really good at what they do, and so it's like we just need to keep them consistent, keep them off the ground, and just keep them moving. You know, I think Trevor has the ability to win these races, and you know, and the evidence, the work he's putting in.
Today could be that day if you're Trevor Bollinger. Talk about Austin Lee. He had some trouble. I don't know what was going on there. You guys were making some adjustments.
It appeared Austin took a little spill and it just pushed the front brake lever down, and so we were just trying to tighten it, but the handguard kept jamming it up. So we finally just kind of got it good enough and tightened it up and took off.
There we go. Johnny, thanks a lot, man. Guys.
All righty, thanks a lot, Mikey. And Johnny Campbell from Johnny Campbell Racing, finding a home here in the GNCC Racing Nation. You know, I thought that was pretty neat when they brought the Honda crew over a few years ago, and see what they've been able to do with that in the short time that they've been here. And we see what they've done with Trevor Bollinger. Johnny's been a great addition and an asset to his career for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, it's quite an extreme because Johnny Campbell is an unbelievable rider himself in his career, and Baja 1000 wins and different things, and very versatile. So to come over here and play around in the woods and to learn that compared to out west are apples to oranges. So for him to come over here and really help these guys with Trevor obviously riding fast, and Austin's having a good year, obviously with Scott Summers being on a Honda years ago, but a lot of that didn't translate straight to Johnny. I'm sure they used his wisdom of Summers' years, but the new bikes and everything else, a lot of it's changed so much that you know, it's a different type of racing right now just because of way more riders than even when Summers or myself were riding.
Yes, for sure. And right now, while we watch, let's go ahead and check in with some of these other classes. I've been talking a lot about the XC1 and the overall. The XC2 250 Pro class has Josh Totha still out front of Craig DeLong, who is now up to 10th place. Pascal Rachlecker is up to a third place position aboard the 117 from Austria. We got Ryder Lafferty, the 336 in fourth place. Liam Draper, the 198 in fifth. And we've seen that change taking place there. Those guys have all switched around. It was Draper in the number 3 spot with Lafferty right on his rear wheel. And I think Lafferty at one point was in third as well. So some big changes going on there. Sixth place, Jonathan Johnson. Benjamin Kelly, wow, back in 7th. Austin Lee is 8th. Kevin Smith in 9th. Mike Wachowski rounds out your top 10. As we look at the XC3, FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class, Jesse Ansley leading Jason Raines by nearly a minute now. That's, wow, out of the ordinary, I think. But Ansley on it after Raines and Teagarden battled it out for that early start. Ansley just slipped right through and checked right on out. Jason Raines and Alex Teagarden a minute and 2 seconds back as Teagarden back in the number 3 spot. Jason Langenbeck is 4th. Ryan Lojak back in the number 5 position there as far as the XC3 class is concerned.
Yeah, and Ben Parson, or excuse me, I was just reading it on screen. Ben Kelly went down in the second turn. I was standing right there, and actually, so did Ben Parson, who's one of my riders. So that's a tough way to start this race when you're almost dead last in the silt and going into the woods.
Well, as we take a look at things, we were talking about that FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. There's what the points are looking like right now. Jesse Ansley has pulled out to the lead as far as the points are concerned, and he's got a 7-point lead over Jason Raines right now as we head into the latter half of the championship season. Cody Barnes, who's currently running back in 6th place in the class, is 3rd place in points, and Alex Teagarden, wow, he's had some wins, he's had some good rides and everything, but he's still back there in that 4th place position with Jason Langenbeck rounding out the top 5. But it's kind of tight, I think, right now for the top 3. And if Teagarden can get some things together, it could really get tightened up.
Absolutely. And Alex is one of those riders that's wow, getting a little sideways there, Caleb. He's on the gas, don't you think? Trying to get out of there.
Yeah, he's trying to get away from trying to get away from the 739 there, man. I mean, you can see it almost looks like a sense of urgency as we watch Caleb Russell go by the 7-mile marker. Look at this. Thad Duval is closing up that gap. I did not put a clock on it. I wasn't expecting to see that happen so quickly, but Thad Duval is within 15 seconds of the front 2 riders right now, folks.
If not closer to 10, maybe. It looked like he was close to Trevor for sure. He's on a mission. He looked attacking.
Wow, and what a far cry different than what we saw at the beginning of this lap. We saw him lose time, and again, we talked about those lap riders that we thought that could have possibly taken place in the wooded section and how quickly you can lose time, but obviously he's found some place to spread his wings out there, and now he's closed up that gap. It will be very interesting to find out once we finally get back around for lap 5 complete for these riders and head in for the 2 lap boards. Should be a little under 10 minutes, about 8 minutes or so before we see that. But how much? Well, we'll get a clock on maybe on the next shot. But 28.9 seconds down. I'm saying less than 15. Steve's saying closer to 10. We'll just have to wait and see just exactly what that timing is like here in just a few moments. But wow, we're starting to see the excitement really pick up, the excitement level as we approach the 2-hour mark. And this is the mark where, you know, we start to tell who's been doing their homework, who maybe not only been doing their homework, but putting in that extra work, because that 3rd hour is the most critical hour of a GNCC. You can be the fastest, you can be one of the most fit people in the world, but if you're not 3 hours fit strong, you're not going to make it at a GNCC, I don't think.
Yeah, great point. You know, I always say you can't fake fitness and you can't fake speed. So those 2 things, and those are not given; those are earned. So behind the scenes, like doing the homework for school, if you do the right homework and study for the test easy. Same idea. That's what I teach a lot of my guys to do the behind the scenes homework, as well as then when you get to the race, should be the easiest part. And most riders, the race is absolutely the hardest part. Not that you're not going to be exhausted and pushing your limits the whole 3 hours, but most riders don't train as hard, where that's the hardest part of the week, where a lot of these top racers and the ones that are training correctly, they're pushing so hard that the race should feel a little bit easier than.
And I think that is feeling that right now. I just watched Stu Baylor go through on the 5:14. He had a 1.5-second deficit whenever they came through at the end of lap number 4. I have to say, again, I didn't have a clock on it, but I have a sense of timing a lot of times, and that seemed to be well over that 1.5-second mark. There's Ricky Russell going through on the 2:12. He's in amongst some of that lap traffic now. So at this point in the race, Steve, what's going on in these riders? There's the one of Caleb Russell. We got 13-second gap now is what we're hearing between Trevor Bollinger and the 989 of Thad Duval as we roll into this field section here. At, well, I think this is what, we're looking at somewhere close to the 8.5 mile marker, if I'm not mistaken. Are we that far yet? Maybe not. But
we are.
We are that far. Man, these laps are just turning through so quickly. Look at the gap that is starting to open up there as Caleb and look at that course. It's really starting to chew up. I mean, there's getting some major acceleration bumps coming out of those turns right there.
Yeah, I was standing actually right at that corner where you're talking about, Rodney. You're exactly right. Coming in, it's kind of loose, and if you try to smash it, you can see right where all three of them are hitting it. And yeah, he's still in the dust right there. So I know. I think they just told us 15 seconds,
13,
but
they
it
said
looks
13,
close.
But
13.
it
looks faster.
It looks
closer.
closer now than that even. So wow.
Yeah.
And poor Stu Baylor may be running a great pace back there, but it doesn't look like it because Thad Duvall is running such a phenomenal pace of his own. And speaking of Stu Baylor, no. Is that him?
No.
Oh, I thought that was.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. So it's easy to do. It looks obviously funny to us because it's not us, but it's easy to go because you try to smash it, and it's just like fluffy stuff. It's actually worse than sand. It just knifes your front end. So you see a lot of the riders dabbing or over-rotating through it, and then they hit the whoops right on their head.
Well, that rider had a red background number plate. It was not a pro rider.
Yeah, you're right. It was the wrong color, I think. But you're asked, what are they thinking now at this point of the race? It looks like Caleb's definitely looking back and trying to run and hide. And now if Trevor's still right there, he might even think of, might have to do a plan B and then sprint, last couple laps. But it looks like he's still trying to get away, but it's one of those things sometimes. It depends on the lappers, too.
9.3 mile marker. It is still Caleb Russell, Trevor Bollinger, and here comes Thad Duvall right through the woods section. You know the fans out there are feeling the energy. You could see them start to amp up as they see Thad Duvall rounding the corner. They're getting as excited, I think, as we are as to what this battle could entail over the next hour or so of racing.
Yeah, everybody loves to see a good battle, and it's cool that Trevor's all over Caleb, and it looks like Thad's coming, so we might have a three-way brawl to the finish.
That's going to be great. and I think it's really neat to see Thad to be able to come from behind like he is right now as well. And we've seen it a couple of different times this season, and, sometimes, like in the past, it's been kind of overwhelming for these guys, but right now, Thad's not being overwhelmed by anything as we wait here at the 9.3 mile marker once again, as we'll be picking up more of the action here at this Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. And Steve Hatch, again, just perfect day of racing. It is lending us exactly what we had hoped for. And again, you come into these and you think in your mind, well, especially as of lately, it's going to be Caleb Russell, and you can expect Thad Duvall. Who's going to be the third place guy? That's the thing. Or who's going to be the one to mix it up? I mean, coming into this one, how many people had on their mind the name Trevor Bollinger, really? I mean, you might have thrown out maybe a Stu Baylor. You might be able to get him in there, maybe even Ricky Russell or something like that. But and not meaning to take anything away from Trevor at all. But what we're seeing out of Trevor right now is something that I can't recall seeing for 2 solid hours at this point, the level he's going anyway.
Right. I think he's turned a lot of heads today. I think we all know he's got the speed, and for an hour and a half maybe, but like Johnny Campbell said, it's proof that he's been doing the homework behind the scenes. He has been training a lot. They've been obviously testing and got him on the big bike on the 450, as well as he really wants it, and he was used to winning in the XC2 class in the championship. So once you taste that, you kind of know what it takes at that level. But then when you get in with, obviously, like we've said, Caleb or Thad or all these guys that have done it a long time, you have to kind of earn your stripes. And now he's starting to put it all together and get your recipe for success.
All right, going into the woods right now, the battle for the lead as we roll through these final closing moments of lap number 5. We'll be seeing a 2-lap board coming out, and the battle may be stretching out. But what I'm interested in seeing is, as we round this turn, how far back now is the 989 off this battle for these front two? Will we see them in the same stretch? Let's see. Is Thad going up? Nope, don't see Thad checking in just yet as they've ducked into the woods. So he might be back in that 15-plus second range or so. Maybe not. We'll see. There they come back out of that wood section.
Not yet. They've got a little bit farther.
Oh, okay. I thought that looked like the way that guy is riding. It looks like he's riding like Caleb Russell right there.
That's a good compliment. Distance. He's going to be stoked when he sees this. They have a little more section, a bunch of switchbacks, and they'll come out in about 25, 30 seconds.
Right.
But I had a kind of a quick watch on one of those trucks just marking it, and it was about 13 seconds that the drone showed, and I still didn't see Thad. So, like you said, it still might be 13 and 15, whatever, but hopefully it's close.
Because that's the kind of stuff that gets us on the edge of our seat and up on our toes as
there
we
we go.
Watch. Yeah, look
wow,
at that.
Right together.
Are they that close together?
Or is that a lapper?
Is that a lapper he just had to get through? And that tells you that Caleb is finding his own sources of obstacles out there, and I'm sure that Trevor's trying to capitalize on that, and here those have got to be the incentives, and that might be the incentive that's going to carry him through this next hour. Now, I want to point something else out as we go through this. Look at this, trying to get through the lap traffic, Caleb Russell right now, but we talk about Trevor Bollinger always being strong in that last hour. He usually works his way up, not such the intensity at the beginning of the race. What if Trevor has been comfortable this entire time and he hasn't even pushed yet? What if he's about to dig deep and we're about ready to find that final hour push that we oftentimes have seen out of him in the past?
Yeah, that would be amazing because, Caleb definitely likes to lead and control the race. Then he knows where he's at. But, Trevor's matched everything he's done today so far. And, a lot of times, being second sometimes is an advantage. But with the silt today, I don't think it's a huge advantage. The only disadvantage that Caleb has is he's the lead guy. So sometimes when you're coming into lappers, they don't realize that the pros are coming. So it takes like a half a second more on one of the lappers before they go, oh, this is the leaders, and then Trevor's right on him a little bit and makes up a little time.
Well, they gained 10 seconds since that 13-second gap that we were looking at between those guys. So now 23 seconds back is Thad Duvall behind the battle for first place of Caleb Russell and Trevor Bollinger. These guys are really starting to pick it up. Final hour, and I know what's going through Caleb Russell's mind right now, I'm sure. This is it. This is the hour. This is where I start to push. This is where I start to break away. This is where I lose this turkey.
I think that's what he's hoping for sure. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, he's hoping that for sure.
I think he wouldn't have minded that happening in the first hour or two, but it hasn't happened yet.
Especially the way that it's been going. But, the thing about it is, we pointed out the competition. Caleb has gotten more and more used to being pounded upon, and he always has. I mean, you look back all the way into the youth ranks, up to the XC2, when Charlie Mullins was still champion, and he and Charlie were battling. I mean, it's just like, and then it was Josh Strang, and then it was this guy, and now, here we are to Thad Duvall being, and now Trevor Bollinger being the guy that is knocking so hard on the door for him. But, man, we've seen a lot of maturity over the past 5 championships of Caleb Russell. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Caleb may have fallen apart at this point from all the pressure, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely mentally strong, and he's got great race etiquette, and I was fortunate enough to get to work with him right when he turned to XC2 Pro Series. That season he won his first championship. I was working with him and training him, and he's very sharp, smart, and articulates in a race strategy. Picks up lines, picks up strategies, adapts as he needs to, and he's such a competitive guy. And as you said, he's started winning and making it happen in the youth ranks all the way through the 200A to the XC2 to these guys. And it took him a couple years in the big bikes, but like you said, Charlie Mullins was the champion then, and tough and strong and fast. And Caleb's not afraid to work as well as do whatever it takes. He's always making it happen. So there's a reason he works really hard to be the best.
He does. And 5 laps down, Duvall is in, as we said, 23 seconds back, and so far, unless this thing isn't keeping up with it, that's the only 3 we've seen in. Stu Baylor was 1 minute and 5 seconds back, but I have to think that he's even further back than that. We'll let the clock tell us the truth of that, but wow, these front 3, even Thad, stretching it way out as we head past these monster cans once more. And look at that, still going at it is Caleb Russell, Trevor Bollinger.
I was just laughing to myself. The Energizer Bunny, right? Still going and going and going. I mean, Caleb's looking back going, dang, is that 7:39 again? Still.
Wow.
He's like a bad day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is 1.8 mile marker is where we're at right now of a near 10-mile race course, or is it closer to 11, whichever it may be. But we've got a lot of grueling territory between those mile markers, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're right. And Thad, unfortunately, has dropped back just a little, 22, and it looks like those guys are just dropping the hammer.
They are dropping the hammer. Ricky Russell is in now. Wow, 4th place, 2 minutes and 45 seconds back. Those front three have really elevated themselves ahead of everyone. Josh Strang, the 114, is rounding out the top 5. Looks like he may have gotten back around Stu Baylor, the 514. Remember, we were talking about Stu a few moments ago, and that looked like he was losing some time behind Thad Duvall a few moments ago. Well, he's back to 6th place right now and still hasn't checked in, so he has obviously found some sort of a problem out there. So we'll just have to wait and see if that's the case or not. Or maybe he's still riding and pushing hard, you know what I mean?
Right, yes, it's hard to say. There's such long laps, and, you know, by the time you get around, it's anything can happen. Even one lapper or one crash can be 10, 20 seconds. Then you're out of your rhythm, and you might drop back, and you think you're going just as fast as you were.
8 of Craig DeLong checking in there just a moment ago. We saw him going by here, the wood shot. That is 2nd place ride. Back to the lead. Back to the lead battle out here as we are in that 2.5 mile mark area, I believe, and it's just rolling right along through this lap. And look at that. There is Caleb again in this field section. We saw him start to open it up a few moments ago, but when they get back into those wood sections, Trevor's able to tighten it back up.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to believe a little bit that maybe the lappers are a bigger factor in the woods, because once the woods are really fast, then everybody can go pretty fast. When it's really technical and more technique and you know, slower, sometimes that's a little bit easier to get around guys just because the technical skills are so much better with these top pros. But when it's really fast, a lot of people can go fast down the straightaways or faster woods, but looks like they have a battle. It's on.
It is. Taking a look at our top 10 right now, Russell, Bollinger, Duvall, Toth, the leader of the XC2, is up to 4th. Ricky Russell is 5th overall. Josh Strang 6th. Craig DeLong 2nd in the XC250 Pro class is 7th. Pascal Rachenecker, who is 3rd in the class, is 8th overall. Ryder Lafferty, who is 4th in the XC2 class, is 9th overall. And Andrew DeLong, hey, look at that, the 410 machine, rounds out the top 10 overall. And better note for him is the fact that Andrew DeLong is now up to a 6th place position on his Fred Andrews Racing gas. That's pretty impressive for him. And we are getting reports, where is Stu Baylor? And that's what we're not the only one wondering that now, that appears. But wow, how about it for DeLong, man? I mean, you know, he's been out for 2 years, and here he is, you know, not even a factor. Hadn't even mentioned his name, I don't think, since the start, and here he is up to 6th place.
Yeah, that's a great ride for Andrew. I know he had those injuries at the top of his game a few years ago, and that really set him back, and he's really battled to unfortunately, you know, take some time off. He had to, but he's back, and with the Gas team is fantastic, and Fred Andrews and everybody there works hard, and Nick Davis and all the guys, so it's amazing to see him up that far. I know he's been digging deep and knows what it takes is the thing behind it, but I think you have to put in your time to get that speed back, because even being off a few races is a big deal. You're off more like a year or two. It's a long road back, and you know, on the 300's a good bike for him. Sometimes on these really slippery tracks, sometimes a 4-stroke would be a little bit easier to ride and get more traction. So he's having a phenomenal ride if he's all the way up there.
Well, Stu Baylor was also having a pretty doggone good ride now, as he's dropped back to at least as far as an 8th place position in class on the 514 machine. And I still haven't heard any real updates as to what is happening, what is taking place, or what. All right, let's head on down to Mikey in the TD Energy pits. Maybe he has an answer to that.
I've sort of got an answer, Rodney. Not the best answer yet, but we know this. Obviously, Stu's not checked in yet, and he called them from someone else's cell phone. So he's down out there. I'm assuming he's all right, but going to be heading back here into the pits is what it sounds like.
Wow. Called them from someone's cell phone, a spectator's, I'm assuming, cell phone on the course. So, ouch. That's a heartbreaker for Stu Baylor, because, again, we saw him doing so well. I mean, he was working his way up through the fourth place position, was closing in on those guys for a few moments. And, you know, troubles for Stu Baylor like this, it's awful. But troubles is something that is kind of plagued this rider all season, and we caught up and talked with him about that earlier this weekend.
Yeah, you know, this year has been up and down. We've had some really, really good rides going. It seems almost every race we found ourselves up towards the front. And just having minor issues, and I've been able to come back most races and make the best out of it. But you know, we had the forks come loose at one race, another race just another issue that set me back at Steel Creek, and I just never could run the pace. We also had the foot peg fall off. That's just, you know, it's a freak thing. I mean, my practice bike was, like I told somebody else, like the pen that came out, I practiced 80 to 100 hours and it never comes out, and it was a brand new pen that fell out in less than 3 hours or less than 2 laps. So it makes for tough racing. I guess good stories behind the camera. You know, it's tough for me mentally because I know that I can run with these guys. I know that I should be close enough to those guys week in and week out, and it seems that here lately I just haven't been able to get the break that I need. And I know we've got the speed. I know we've got everything we need to. We've just got to put it together. You know, it's been tough, but I'm still up front. I'm still having fun. We're still putting in solid laps, and everything's just, I think this year's just been a little different for me as far as just bad luck. But we've been there before. We've come back from it before, and I don't intend for it to slow me down.
And, you know, I have to tend to agree with that last statement. He doesn't intend for it to slow him down. I'm not going to lie, I counted Stu out. The wrist injuries, the shoulder injuries, everything that he acquired through his XC2 career and leading into his XC1 career after the wrist surgeries and everything, in my mind's eye, I thought, well, it's over, you know, because generally you don't see people fight back from something like that.
No, I'm totally with you, Rodney, unfortunately, and you hate to see that happen. And most are as strong as they are. If you look back to even motocross with Ricky Johnson was taken out with a wrist injury early when he was top of his career. You know, Charlie Mullins, different ones, and they are not like they're not tough. These are the toughest racers on the planet and pro athletes. So when Stu came back, I'm with you. I didn't think. I mean, it's an injury. It's not a mental thing.
When he won Big Buck.
Yep.
When he won Big Buck at the beginning of the 2017 season, I was just, I literally was almost, I mean, I wasn't speechless. I found the words, but I was just blown away. I mean, I was in disbelief in a sense, you know, and to see what he was able to accomplish after that race after race, and even this season, you know, even with the troubles that he's had, we always see good things out of Stu Baylor every time that green flag flies, it seems like.
Yeah, well, he's fit, and he's always been fast, and he's determined, and he's putting in the work, and it is. You listen to that interview, and you know your heart goes out to him because you know he's there, and you know that he's capable of, you know, top threes or wins like he's done. And then when you have the little issues, and it seems like, you know, when it rains it pours, and when it's dry it's like the Sahara Desert. It never goes like, you know, one thing and then you're back on track. It seems like there's 2 or 3 things that you're like, I can't believe that even happened. You know, you're like banging your head against the wall going, what are the chances of that?
Yeah, I know, just like he said, you know, the behind-the-scenes type stuff that goes on, man, you know, behind-the-camera stuff. And there's a lot that goes on in the world of Stu Baylor, that's for sure. Hey, let's check in with a couple other classes real quick while we got a moment. Let's look at the Open A class real quick. Denver, North Carolina's Connor Smith leading that one 1.7 seconds after 4 laps of racing. The 7:12 of Bryce Coster out of Sorrento, Florida, running in the number 2 spot. The 43 of Ben Parsons out of Orlando, Florida, 2 minutes 32 seconds back in third. Eric Guys, the 3:19 out of Sammamish, Washington, making a long haul over here in the 4th place position. And rounding out the top 5, Tyler Soriano out of Uricksville, Ohio. And Steve, you can keep an eye on this. Interrupt me if we see anything of importance and pertinence there that comes up on screen here.
Okay, sure will.
250A class, we take a look at this now. Some more New Englanders doing well.
They're both my riders, so I'm pretty stoked. 1 and 2.
The Simon Johnson, the 811 out of Bennington, Vermont, and the 570 of Matt Kiefer out of Monroe Township, Pennsylvania, running only 3 seconds apart. You must be training them well.
They've been battling all race. Matt was ahead a few laps, and now Simon's ahead a few laps, so they better you can tell who's training on both of them. They're both training the same, so that's awesome.
Brewer Carley, the 414 out of Lexington, South Carolina, in the third place position. Owen Guys, the 322 out of Harwinton, Connecticut, is fourth, and Chase Hayes out of Sumter, South Carolina, rounds out your top 5. You say that guy, Guys, is your guy too?
Yep.
So that's 3 in the top 5 you've got here.
Not too bad.
Nope, you're not doing too bad. 258 class, one of the premier classes as far as amateurs are concerned here in the GNCC Racing Nation, and we'll update our next class. I think we get to go to 4-stroke A, if I'm not mistaken, but
whoa, there's that tree root.
Yeah, that thing is getting more and more prevalent. It's causing more and more problems, I think, for those guys out there than what it was earlier. All right, let's look at that 4-stroke A lights class. Frederick Bluin out of Canada, 33-second lead over Brody Johnson, the 235. Then the 56, Johnny Manera out of Mill Hill, New Jersey, 44 seconds back in third. The 66 of Michael DeLose out of Gillette, PA, a minute and almost 10 seconds back and forth. And Bolton Beroth out of Pfafftown, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. Pfafftown. I can't. It's Pfatton. It's two. Yeah, it's F's and then town. But then Pfafftown. Francis Filtermeyer out of Laval, Quebec, Canada, is running in the 6th place position, and Mikey Waynes is back in the pits. He may have a word with Stu. Let's check in and see.
Well, I don't have a word with Stu, but that's a good thing because he is back out on the track. That's a report we got. Still no confirmation on exactly what happened to him, but I can confirm that he's back on the bike and he's rolling to finish this race.
Well, that is good news. That is for sure. Thank you, Mikey, for keeping us up to date on that. There is Bollinger just behind, I'm sure, the number 1 of Caleb Russell, as he just went through. And look at the intensity at which he was riding it. You have to think, if he's pushing that hard right now, I mean, that's the hardest I've seen him push all race long. And there was no Caleb Russell in sight as they came through there so quick. So I got to wonder what kind of intensity level is Caleb wicked up to right now.
Yeah, it looked like he's wanting to go faster than the terrain will allow him. And if you remember back, Caleb did that exact same move the lap before when he was trying to pull away. So there's some tree root or something really slippery there. Here we see Thad Duvall coming up. He looks like he's still on a mission, but he's back a little ways, unfortunately.
All right, here we are. We got Thad Duvall. He's coming in off of this one, off of a win. He won here a year ago. Obviously, the momentum is high. He's, 15 points out of the points race right now in the championship. So he's got a lot of incentive, a lot of positive marks going on. Here with a little more than a lap or so, we'll see. Will we get the 2-lap port card coming out this time around? Or no, we are on the 2-lap card, aren't we? These guys are in 5 laps, so we are in the 2-lap. A little more than a lap or so. Let me double check that. I want to make sure. We're going to 8 laps. They have 5 down, 6.
I think we're going 7.
Yeah, 7. So
they said.
Yes. 7 lap. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do too much math in my head at one time. A 7-lap race. They did get the 2-lap card. So we, according to this, we are 2/3 of the way through this 6th lap of racing. What's going through Thad Duvall's mind right now? He's third. Like I said, he has all this momentum. He has all these great things on his side, and now he's got a little bit of a deficit to make up, and and the time is running out right now, it seems.
Yeah, you're right. One of the things that it's tough for Thad Duvall, he's battled back from the start and got way up there. One of the things that he's doing is definitely trying to catch those guys. And then, like I said, at the point, if he didn't catch him within that lap when he got the closest, once they see the 2-lap board, you knew that Caleb Russell and Trevor Bollinger are going to drop the hammer, and it's not going to be any easier for Thad to get on him. So I'm bummed that he's not with him, but I think it's now it's going to be a lot harder because they're all 3 wide open, and that gap's going to be even harder to close.
It is. It is going to be very hard, but it could make for some excitement for us from a spectator standpoint, because we're seeing these guys reach in to places that they may have not reached for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
All 3 of them, actually. I mean, yeah. Caleb being pushed like he has all day. He's had to dig deep. It's a little different dig that he's doing today because it's a different rider that he's been battling with.
Yeah, good point, Rodney. I think, he's been battling and knows that Thad Duvall has been, even though he hasn't won, he's been matching him and really pushing him the whole race. So, you know, Caleb Russell, like you said before, he's used to that pressure and he kind of thrives on it and finds a way. But I think he's confused, I'm sure, of going, okay, when's Trevor maybe going to drop back or have an issue or make a mistake? But he really hasn't, from what we've seen, put a wheel wrong all day that I've seen.
No, it doesn't appear that he's made any mistakes that I've been able to tell. There is Caleb out in this open field section right now.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You can still see Trevor's right back there and maybe 3-4 seconds back. And, you know, I think if Trevor's out of the dust, not that you want to be very far out, but that's a lot easier place to ride as the dust settled. And now he actually can see that there's earth under his wheels, which he hasn't seen for the last 2 hours and 14 minutes and 53 seconds. So even though it stinks that he's a little ways back, I think that might, if he can breathe and keep it there and then make a run once Caleb gets into some lappers, anything can happen in these races.
You know, and there's Thad right there. Now, this thing right here, that you see this in the woods. You can have the same gap in the woods. It seems so much bigger in the woods than what it seems in an open field section. Now, visually, we're looking at that. Does that make sense, really? I mean, in honesty, or is it the same amount no matter what?
Well, it's still the same amount, but I think, you know, for a racer standpoint, once you're in the grass track and you see they're only one straightaway ahead or whatever it is,
right,
you can see them. You can have that more, you know, excitement to try to catch them. In the woods, it's very hard if it's tight trees or lots of corners or whatever. That 5 or 10 seconds, you won't even see the rider, even though you're only 5 or 10 seconds. So, you know, kind of the cat and mouse. Once you can see it, you can drive to them a little bit easier and have that extra energy. Once you can't, you start to get defeated a little bit. And I know we used to play those mental games and try to run and hide, because if you can get in or get into the pits, get gassed and get out, and the rider comes next and sees minus 10 or 20 or 30 seconds, kind of deflates their drive, and the guy in second usually or third feels completely drained of energy all of a sudden compared to when they're catching him, and you see that pit board that says catching, and you know 10 seconds up, you're now 3 seconds up, you can start to get that energy.
I don't know about Trevor's fitness. Like Johnny Campbell had said, he's definitely been doing his homework. You can tell by looking at him and coming into the season, a totally different rider than he has been in years past, and we've seen nothing but progression out of him, physically on the bike and physically himself from a personal standpoint. And this year, I mean, he looked like a picture-perfect athlete.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he trimmed down. He's in shape. He's battling. I mean, he even changed the hairdo. He's got the lean and mean. So he's serious. He wants it. Yep.
Business. It's all business now, my friends. It's all about the business. Seen Thad Duvall going through there. Seen the front two runners go through here in this woods shot. I think we're out near the 9.3 mile marker. So we should be within a couple minutes or so, about 3 minutes or so, of the finish line, if my calculations are correct. So we'll be seeing these guys come in. They'll be taking the white flag. This time they'll be in the 6, so they'll be heading in the 7. Yes, a 7-lap race. So they'll be taking the white flag for one more lap to go. And wow, I mean, here we are. And kind of what I expected to happen is happening, but it's not happening at the progressive level that I expect. I expected, honestly, to see, and we did, Caleb pick up that pace and try to stretch things out. He has, but what he's not doing is stretching it out as much as what I'm sure he wanted to, and maybe what I kind of expected him to, which I'm really excited about for Trevor, because this tells me that Trevor has been doing all the homework, and he has, and the endurance level is getting up there where it needs to be, and we've got a new player. All righty, we got the drone footage here. We're out near this 10-mile marker. We'll be battling all the way to the finish line. When these guys get to the finish line this time, Steve, we'll be looking at a white flag, not for surrender, but for one more to go.
Yeah, white flag means nothing about surrender in this sport.
That's funny how that works.
It's winning time is what I always told myself. So, yeah, you're right. And to add to your point is a good one. That's exactly – Caleb looks like he's got a little bit more of a lead we're seeing here, but I think Caleb likes to have, if he can, I mean, who doesn't, 10 or 20 seconds if he can get that, because then if you hit a lapper or tip over, you don't lose the race. So he likes to try to get that. I mean, so he is trying to run and hide a little more and get away from him. So if there is something that's a mistake or a lapper, he won't lose the race. Where Trevor's trying to keep that gap and pray something happens to Caleb, or he can get that his first win would be amazing.
All right, now as we come around for the lap complete, I got to ask, do you think Thad Duvall's going to have to stop in the pits for a pit stop?
You know, I was thinking that when you said I just got here to the booth before, you know, I didn't know he pitted on the 3rd lap because I was running around, but I was thinking that could be close on 4 laps to the finish with how fast this track is, and if it doesn't, oh, he did pit. We're getting confirmation. Okay. Okay, got it. So that makes sense, and you know that's one of those things that if you're not right in the hunt for winning, why take the chance and get some gas? I've run out way too many times. Most of the time it happened to be when I was in the lead, of course. It never happens when you're in 5th or 10th.
The interesting thing, I'm sure the strategy didn't work out kind of the way that he wanted it to, but it did pay dividends for him the next lap because he had those issues with the lap traffic and stuff.
Right. And he got within, what did we say, 13 seconds. Yeah, so that was going to be his chance, I think, and like we said, now it's going to be really tough to run these guys down there.
Caleb Russell into the closing turns here as he heads toward a white flag and not even looking over his shoulder at this particular point. In laps recent, we've seen him kind of searching out what's going on behind him, but I think he knows where Trevor is. He knows what he's got to do, and he's not even worried about it at this point. He's got his head down. He's charging, looking straight ahead. One more lap and about 10 miles of racing to go before he can claim, likely it looks like, his first ever Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC win.
Yeah, you know, I think it seems like some tracks are just your good luck ones, or you ride good, and I think Caleb's always rode good here. He's just had some goofy things going on. I know some getting together with different riders here and there, and just bad luck here. But yeah, I was reading that coming into today's race, and you know, that's one of the very, very, very few races that Caleb Russell has never won, which is very few of all the races that he's won because he's got such a big mark there. What's he at now? I know the record last year is over Scott Summers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, 46 is what he's. Yeah, we're
49.
Where are we? I'll have to look into my notes here, but I forget exactly how many overall wins right now that we do see that Caleb Russell has. But yeah, he is certainly one of the winningest and one of the greatest GNCC racers. He is certainly making himself that for sure as we see the wins records here for the bike side of things. 54 wins is what he's got right now. 54 wins. Scott Summers, when he broke that record, had 46. Now he has added, what is it, another 8 wins onto that. So pretty amazing stuff whenever you look at the big picture on that.
Yeah, due to the fact that also, as we know, we were announcing together last year at the Crawford Trail Ironman GNCC when he passed it to get 47, and now he's got another 7 and maybe 8 today. So yeah, it's simply amazing.
And that was neat. Scott Summers was there to congratulate him and everything. And came in under the radar. Nobody even knew he was there. And there he was at the finish.
So cool. I kind of got the quick, Carrie Jo's like, yeah, you know who's here? I'm like, no, who? And she's like, oh, yeah, Scott's going to like congratulate Caleb at the finish. I'm like, that's cool. And he had the incognito, no sponsor sweatshirt on, and anything. I didn't even know he was there. I just happened to catch him and stoked to see him.
Well, right now trying to add to that record, make it number 55 and make it number 1 here at the Tomahawk GNCC. And, you know, a win is something that a rider wants. But when one eludes you at a certain facility, say at someone's level, say as Caleb's is, does it make you want to win that much more whenever you come to a place like this?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I think you want to win it, obviously, like you said, all of them, but you start to wonder what in the heck are the weird things going on at this venue or that particular state that just the gremlins creep on there, because he's always been battling for it, you know, all the years it's been here, and this is 4th year coming here. But I think, yeah, you want to win that, just prove it to yourself that any conditions, anywhere, and good luck, and especially, you know, coming into the future years that you can win at any of them.
I'm sorry. I am just amazed at the beauty of this facility in the Seneca Highlands as we see Caleb Russell again out here at the Monster Mile, the 1.8. And look, Trevor Bollinger, what looked like was a long way in the woods a little bit ago, he's right back into the action, it looks like.
Yeah, he is right there. This is going to be a battle to the finish, I think.
I thought that was Thad coming around, but looks like he may have dropped that. We got some lap traffic in between those guys now. That might be some saving grace for those guys up front right now. But Thad, wow.
Looks like a dead monster in the trail back there that fell off the tree.
It does. It did. You've got a
even the monsters are worn out.
They can't hang on to the trees forever, can they? They've been taking a beating. Hey, Mikey's back down in the pits. What's going on, bud?
Thanks, guys. Down here in the pits, just want to let you know, I'm wrapping things up. I'm going to leave the comforts of the KTM pits to see if Caleb Russell can capture a win here, his first one here at the Tomahawk, and can Josh Toth capture a win in the XC2. We'll see you at the finish.
All righty, thanks a lot. They got some big things going on over there in the KTM pits, and Mikey Waynes has got some pretty cool stuff going on as well, as we are joined in the booth here on this final lap by a young rider that also had a final lap of some intensity, I think, himself. Peyton Wickery joining us here, winner of this morning's Youth Overall. Good afternoon, and welcome back to GNCC Live, man.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, see, it's been a couple of races since we talked to you, huh?
Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, and a lot of things happening in between there, too, huh?
Yeah, we've had a couple wrecks and bike blowing up one race, and just finally getting back into the groove, I think.
Well, the groove found you here in New York. Tell me a little bit about your race today. How did that one go?
It was good. Me and Max were up front, and we just I think I got the whole shot, and I just started pushing with Max the first couple laps, and once we figured out a good pace to run, and we started getting away from them guys back in the back, and just kept pushing, and then Max's bike must have broke or something, and just left me with a nice lead, and was able to just come in with the win.
It's got to be feeling good. How's that doing for the championship for you right now?
The overall championship, I'm not exactly sure what the points are for that, but the class points, I think I'm sitting like 3rd or 4th right now, but because of the brakes and not finishing Camp Coker because of a bad wreck and having a bad race at the Penton 2 weekends ago, set me back a little bit, but we're gonna get back up there.
Still within striking distance.
I hope so, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, how many wins does that make for you this season?
I think that's win number 5, I believe. I believe it's 5 or 6. I think it's 5.
And the competition is stiff in that morning class too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, makes it fun.
It most certainly does. Well, Peyton, we certainly appreciate you coming by. So we're headed to Snowshoe. How do you like Snowshoe? You looking forward to that one?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I won there last year. That was the one that I beat Zach Davidson at. That was the only one that I was able to conquer the mountain on that one, which was very, very fun race. But actually, last year I was in the same position. I was back in points, so I didn't get to start up front with those guys. So at least this year, I think I'm in the top 5, so I'll be able to start in the front row. But I caught them last year from like the 4th row, I think it was, and physically caught them and passed them, and it was just a fun race.
I can't wait to see how things work out for you. Again, congratulations to you on another win, buddy, and I can't wait to get to talk to you again. Good luck to you, and any parting shots or words that you want to pass along to the GNCC Racing Nation?
There's a guy down on the screen right there. Oh, there goes Thad.
Wow, those are the kind of things that you see. Ricky Russell's right behind him right there. Peyton, now do you get to see this kind of stuff on the trail? Do you have obstacles like?
Oh yes, all the time. This is where me and Max go back and forth all the time, because there's a lapper there, and we don't want to interfere with them because it just slows us down, and so we try to find a way around. Oh, there goes the monster sign. But we try to get around them as safe and as fast as possible. But it's definitely a game of who can get in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's a cat and mouse, and just working through all that. But again, Peyton, man, it's good to see you. Good to see you back in the winner's circle. Good to see you up right after Camp Coker. I saw you out there after that crash at Camp Coker. I saw a few little birdies twirling around your head out there.
Yeah, that was not a good one, that's for sure.
Well, you're back, and you got a smile and a sparkle in your eye, Peyton. Congratulations to you, and we'll probably talk to you again maybe in a couple weeks, man.
I sure hope so. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself. Well, with that, we've got 2 hours and 30 minutes into this race right now, my friends, and we've got a barn burner that could very well ignite over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, so you're not going to want to go anywhere. Caleb Russell out front of Trevor Bollinger right on his rear wheel. Thad Duval is trying to track him down. He wants his second win in a row in this season and here at the Tomahawk GNCC. Can he get it? Stick around, like we said. GNCC Live continues right after this.
The halfway point is here, and these riders have endured over an hour now of hard battling through the woods at extremely high heart rates, the type the average athlete couldn't even fathom for this level of distance. Can they stick with it to the end? Don't click that X. GNCC Live on RacerTV.com continues after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best. The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL's Signature Series synthetic motor oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of ATV, UTV lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Lucas Oil Pro Motocross returns to the legendary High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for the 42nd annual Red Bull High Point National on Saturday, June 16th, located just 5 miles north of Morgantown off I-79 exit 1. Be trackside when the dirt flies. Go to highpointmx.com. Feel the roar of speed-only motocross ring. The races start at 1 p.m. Saturday, June 16th at High Point Raceway. Visit highpointmx.com and we'll see you at the races June 16th.
What is your passion? Hitting the perfect line, finding the perfect trail, routing the perfect adventure, or just living and breathing the moto life? Do you feel pride for a job well done after tackling a late night in the shop? Do you enjoy time spent with friends and family in the great outdoors? Spanning over 3 decades, one name has taken the lead for supplying the best powersport parts, accessories, and apparel to fuel your passion. One name that knows it goes beyond getting you the best prices, quickest shipping, or largest selection. One name that builds and innovates for our industry. One name that teaches, helps, and supports our fellow riders, racers, and organizations.
Eye-opening. Being from Australia, I guess our national series may have 150 to 200 riders, and you come here, any Australians come here and they're just amazed at how many people and how big the series is. So I would say eye-opening, but now being here for so long, I would say gnarly. So I mean, we do it because we get paid to do it. But man, I see some of these people, just the average punter coming out every race, every weekend. I got some friends from North Carolina. He's raced every race this year, and I'm like, you're crazy. It's a man's sport. I mean, even though there's women's class in the morning, they're tough as well. You know, it's I don't know. Just GNCC racing is gnarly. You gotta be hardcore motorcycle rider to come and race these things. I'm Josh Strang, and you're watching GNCC Live on RacerTV.com.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on Racer TV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATVMC, get ready. And Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Odessa, New York, and this Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Steve Hatch, also Mikey Wayne's joining us earlier, Landon Wolf as well, and right now still intense battling as we've got Caleb Russell up front at last check with Trevor Bollinger in the number 2 spot, and Thad Duvall back in the number 3 spot. And I'll tell you what, folks, you know, last year we were here and a little bit dustier than what we had. You know, you wonder what were the track conditions like. Let's take a look at last year's highlights as this is what things were looking like last year as we got off to a typical GNCC start. Our Husqvarna rider getting out front. Was that Sykes getting the whole shot? No, that was Josh Strang got the whole shot last year, and he had Caleb Russell right there
and
on his rear wheel.
Sipes at third, looks like.
Yeah, and Sipes back in the number 3 spot. So a lot of the same players, you know, that we've seen last year here, and some of them even up front in the early part of this race. And as you can see, the conditions dry, and much more so than what we were looking at this year. In the wood sections, even the wooded sections, you could tell look and appear to be a little bit drier there. Caleb Russell chasing down, I believe that was Jordan Ashburn there on the number 4 last year. There was Thad Duvall, Ricky Russell, he was close in tow. There's
Stu Baylor, Russell Bobbin.
Yeah, Russell was here a year ago, forgot about that. But as the race wore on, as always, Caleb Russell somehow or another finds his way out to the front of the pack, and how he got mud on the front number plate is beyond me. I don't know where there was mud here last year, but somehow or another they found a hole of mud out there and they went at it. Josh Strang we saw there running second. You know, I had glimpses and memories of what about the year before when those two had gotten together, and Caleb Russell's fuel tank, whenever the fuel pump broke away inside his fuel tank and wasn't able to finish. Josh ended up winning the race, yada, yada, yada. Because, you know, the craziness that caused, I was thinking, man, we got the stage set for another scenario like that. But in the end, it wasn't so much like that. It worked itself out to be, again, a great battle. But all of a sudden, Thad Duvall is able to find himself out front. He took the win after Caleb Russell experienced, I believe, electrical issues last year and dropped all the way back to 5th place.
Yeah, that was a battle and a half last year, and like you said, I think Josh and Caleb went together for same line, and unfortunately broke the fuel part
that was
inside
the year
it. That was the year. You're totally
and
right.
And then last year, I think it was just electrical issues
that
he was
yeah,
with.
You are right.
Yeah, so just crazy things that happen at these races. It's the omens, the demons, the spirits, whatever you want. We are in the Seneca Highlands. This is Native American country here.
Absolutely.
So maybe the spirits like to play a little bit with Caleb and make it, because, hey, you know, how special, much more special would a win be if it happened and came to you every time you came here, right?
There you go.
This is going to make it special. When he gets that big tomahawk on the podium, if he's able to achieve that, it's going to be a special place in his trophy case, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not a gimme. It looked like Trevor was still behind him right about the 3-mile mark the last we saw him, and I think it's going to be a battle, but it would be really nice. And you're right, there's lots of lakes up here, the Finger Lakes, and I grew up 45 minutes away, and it's beautiful. Lots of waterfalls and gorges and different types of terrain that's really neat, and you're right, and Native Americans were here for years, and it's really a special place.
It is. You can just feel it. I mean, you drive through here, the nostalgia in the history of the farmlands and the farming and the barns and the housing structures, you know, the architecture around here. I mean, I just love Western New York. I'm not going to lie. This is a beautiful part of the nation, there's no doubt in my mind.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we wanted to come back here. My wife and I both grew up around here just to be closer to family. So 5 years ago, we were going to move back, and we want to buy an old, cool barn and make it into a cool house. And my father-in-law, being a builder, he's like, oh, you know what, we can just build a new one, because you don't want those old ones from the 1800s, because they'll be all kind of rotted out or falling down. So we literally live in a cool barn that's all tricked out, huge upstairs with the ceilings, and really neatly done.
Wow.
So it's pretty small world, and kind of funny you say that, but it's something different, right?
It is. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, it's a draw for a lot of people. This is a place people love to come and visit, you know, and it's not what you think of when you think of New York either. You know, you think New York City and hustle and bustle. There's nothing like that around here. We're hours away from the city, and it's all farmland and woodlands and things like that. And it's all racing, GNCC racing here today in Odessa as Caleb Russell checks back out, but his shadow, Trevor Bollinger, is still right there. My gosh, he's closer now than I think he was on the first lap whenever you take a look at this.
He is not giving up. This is an awesome race for him, and, you know, this is going to change the rest of the season for him.
Yeah.
Once you know you can do that, and if he can finish right that close to the finish of Caleb Russell, 5-time champ, and all those wins, that's a confidence booster, even if he doesn't get the first win now. But he will be a threat to be reckoned with once you do it once.
Oh, for sure. And to be here riding with Caleb like this all day, I mean, he doesn't look like he's pushed over any edges, doesn't look like he's riding over his head, hasn't appeared to be uncomfortable at any point during this race.
Besides that one little swap out on the rear wheel, which Caleb did in that same corner of the lap before, like you mentioned, I haven't seen him make any mistakes or dab or look sketchy at all. You're totally right. Looks like he's on a rail.
And there comes Thad Duvall now as he's trying to work his way through lap traffic. I almost have to think that maybe at this point Thad has just decided that he's going to settle into pace.
Ricky Russell was not very far back, I think, when we saw that one uphill. Maybe I'm confused by that, but I could have swore we saw him close. Is that true at all?
I possibly, because I remember seeing that. I can't pull that up right now on my computer. I pushed the wrong button or something there. I'm not sure what I did, but I need a TI guy, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen much of anything, and the 2 hour and 40 minutes that we've been racing right now, whew, that's unreal to be able to race at this level without, I mean, they're showing no signs whatsoever of exhaustion or even tiring at this point.
Yeah, still together.
Still together as we go through this next wooded section here, working our way again towards the completion, of the race now. I think, we about halfway through this one now?
Yeah, on the lap.
Trying to figure, is this the 7 or is this the 4.5?
I think it's the 7.
I'd say you're probably right. So
I don't see the... I thought we could see it in the shop earlier, but
yeah, it's to the left of us. Whenever they pan around, we'll watch it. But we're waiting right now, I believe, to watch and see who else is and how far apart they are. I mean, when you look at the big picture, there's Ricky Russell. That's
Thad.
No, that's Thad. Now I thought I seen Ricky Yamaha guy giving him a pit board there, but that's what made me think that was Ricky Russell. Maybe I looked at that all wrong. There's probably a blue Husqvarna shirt, and I got myself a little confused there. But this is a good opportunity for us to sit and look at the ground and now wait for Ricky Russell to come through.
Well, yeah, you know what? We must have been confused. That must have been another rider, because before your computer went down, didn't we think it was like 2 minutes 45 seconds that he was?
Yes.
So that must have been a different rider.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Unless he was on the drone and getting a little bit of a head start over the wood section or something and getting dropped in by a parachute.
Yep.
2 minutes and 45 seconds is not easy to make up in a lap.
No, it's not. And you're right. I forgot about that. But yeah, and how about Rick? Ricky's had a good day today. I mean, even though that gap has opened up between 3rd and 4th place right there, just I think getting in to that position today has been a remarkable feat, because there's been so many people there and through that position today.
Yeah, there's so many people have rotated through there. You're right. It's a long day at the office, and you got to earn it here, or any GNCC. It's
well, the highlight reel on this one's going to be pretty exciting, I have to think. Although most of it will be Caleb Russell there and Trevor Bollinger right there on his rear wheel, and I think that's going to be a lot of the highlights. But there's a lot more that has taken place here today. There's no doubt. We've seen Stu Baylor, and still don't know what the issue there with Stu is. And Grant Baylor had an amazing race going. He'd gotten up to 4th place. I mean, at one point, you have to wonder, had those things not happened, what would this race day finish like?
Right.
Is this the leaders coming back in the shot?
I think so. That looks like Caleb and Trevor.
Yeah.
Wow. Still there. I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Every time Caleb looks back, I think Trevor just wants to wave to him like, yep, still me.
I think this is near the 8.5 mile marker, if I'm not mistaken. So we're about 1.5 miles from the finish line.
No,
and I'm going to say this right now.
This is the 9.3, I bet. I'm sorry. Because it just goes down the hill to the finish. So we're closer than.
Well, maybe we're a lot closer, but, regardless, Caleb Russell in a good position to take the win, but we cannot give it to him just yet.
No.
We cannot say, okay, it's got kind of apparent that, well, Caleb's going to win this. No, it's not. Trevor Bollinger is keeping everyone honest and on their toes out there today.
You're absolutely right, Rodney. If Caleb tipped over, Trevor would be ahead of him unless he happened to hit him with his bike.
Yeah.
On purpose. When he picked it up and dumped the clutch, and then they can fight.
Is that something you teach?
I try not to unless it's the last turn.
Those are always interesting to watch. And that could come down to that. I mean, how interesting would it be to see Trevor Bollinger do exactly that and maybe win it in the last turn?
Oh,
is that's Thad, I think, finally getting through there, huh?
No, man, that's got to be Caleb and
Trevor. I thought that was the other shot over there. No, we are
to the finish.
Yeah,
right there.
This is where we're going into the finish. There is Caleb, and Caleb is on his way to the finish, and it has been a long and grueling 2 hours and 45 minutes, my friends, as we are in the closing and waning moments of this race. He looks over his shoulder to see where his nemesis of the day is, and he sees that he's got him at bay. A couple more turns, and Caleb Russell's about to make his own personal history here in the Empire State at this Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. As Caleb Russell makes the final turn, Caleb Russell will win his first Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC in 4 tries. And Caleb Russell takes the big win here today. And look at that, the fist bump. You know that Trevor Bollinger is pretty pumped right now. And I'm sure that Caleb is pumped for him at the same time. But he's also wondering in the back of his head, is this something I'm going to have to deal with a lot more in the future?
Right. Dang it. I knew Thad was going to be right there all the time, but now there might be another one.
Yeah.
So that was a great ride by Caleb and an amazing ride by Trevor. So those guys battled hard and wanted it, both of them.
For sure. And, wow, just good stuff there. What is that Wicked Flow headband he's got on there? Guys here this weekend, that's a pretty cool thing. But look at that. He's got the dark, thick mud mustache or dust mustache out there. And again, as hard as he rode today, doesn't even look like he's broke a sweat. Look at that. There's no wet hair, no sweat line on him, hardly, if at all, I don't think right now. That's impressive.
Yeah, he trains hard, and this is amazing. And you know, he was the one leading all day, and he's got the dust on him too. So Trevor's got to be more eating. He's probably ate 4 or 5 pounds of dust.
Most likely. Look at him talking to his JCR team. If they aren't excited and if they aren't pleased with performance today, anybody in that whole camp over there, they got to be picked up by the ankles and shaken around a little bit and say, but no, I know Johnny is just ecstatic right now because this is right where he wants to see Trevor. He knows that he's got the potential to be there. He knows he's got the talent to be there, and we've talked to him about it on several different occasions. I have personally, and he knew it's just a matter of waiting. Time is all it was going to take. Maturity is all it was going to take, and we've seen it out of riders like even Caleb Russell. It took a while for him to mature and become a winner as well, but once he did, look at what he's done. So you got to wonder, as the way that Trevor is maturing, what is he going to be able to accomplish if he's able to get in the same position that Caleb is right now as far as championships go?
I agree. He's definitely proved it today, and he's been proving it. He just had to put it to a full race and show us all the way to the finish. But if you can say that you finished within a few seconds of Caleb Russell in the last 5 years, 6 years or more, that's a huge compliment, and it's not easy to do.
That's for sure. There is the face of the young Trevor Bollinger right there. As excited as he is, I think that's about as excited as he looks right there, believe it or not. Switching out the hats. There's Johnny Campbell's. They're pretty stoked. But again, I think they're all I think that they are all just basically I think they're feeling something bigger here. I mean, they aren't disappointed about a win. They are excited about what took place, but I think what I'm seeing here and what I'm feeling here is something bigger. The key that unlocked the door to something bigger, it just happened right there. Today was a big key, and I think the future success of the 739 machine.
I couldn't agree more. It's you can tell that they saw it coming in a while probably ago, a few races, but they had to put the whole race together to prove it to himself, and now they're talking about the future already. So
yeah, and look at him. He's like, I should have got him. I could have had him here. I can see that. Yeah, and last time Camp Coker. Remember, I think when we saw him there, he was not doing so well.
Sprawled out.
Yeah,
so that's a big difference right there.
Yeah, so things have come a long way in that program for sure. As Trevor Bollinger winning our second place, winning our hearts for sure today, and our trust that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And there's a guy that I know is really disappointed. Very disappointed. Third place, you shouldn't, a few years ago, third would have been great. Maybe 2 years ago, third would have been great. Today, third is not. A 15-point deficit coming off of a win. He wanted to make that and shave it down to 10 points heading into Snowshoe to see what kind of mayhem they could cause heading into the summer break. But not going to be the case, at least unless something happens big at Snowshoe. But that did salvage a good day out of it, though, when you look at the big picture.
Absolutely. Podium still works, and, it could also go the other way, as obviously the last one did at Ohio, meaning Thad won, and then Josh got second, Caleb third, so that took some points from Caleb. So going into Snowshoe, if Thad has a good ride, and now we think that Trevor could be up in there and a few other ones, that's a whole different points that can be taken or earned or lost from both those guys now, Thad and Caleb.
Yes, sir, and it looks like Caleb has made his way into position there at the finish line for his winner's interview, and Mikey Waynes is finding himself down there now, and will be set up and ready to go for that in just a moment. But be interesting to hear what Caleb has to say about today for sure, I have to think, because, again, we all a little surprised, not necessarily taken completely aback and think, oh, my God, Trevor Bollinger couldn't do that, but he's a little ahead of my schedule, to be honest with you.
Yeah, mine too. I think I would have not been surprised to get him up to the hour and a half or 2 hour mark, but to get it all the way to the 3 and be right there still, that's impressive.
Let's head on down to the winner's circle with Mikey Waynes.
Thanks, guys. Down here with Caleb, man. Your first win here at the Tomahawk.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a tough place, and middle of the year, you come here, super action in the woods, and it kind of just catches you off guard sometimes. Even today, I mean, it was tough. It was tough for me to get going, and I just rode my pace and what I was comfortable doing, and if that ended up catching me, he caught me, and I'd figure it out then. But yeah, like I said, I wasn't really comfortable pushing any harder or trying any harder than I was, just because the track really didn't allow it today. And Trevor rode great. He was right on me the whole day. And, I rode a pretty mistake-free race. I don't think I fell once. I might have had a couple close calls with the lappers. But, yeah, the FMF KTM was working great today, and just steady out front cruising.
Caleb, big congratulations on the win today. It's weird to say a first for Caleb Russell, man, but what's the mindset heading into Snowshoe in a couple weeks?
Yeah, try to, I've had a lot of success there back in the past. Last year was rough, so I'm definitely looking forward to bounce back from last year's result and try to get back up on the top. But I'm actually more looking forward to the golf on Friday. So
there you go, the golf tournament for the ISDE. There's your winner today, Caleb Russell, taking the big win.
Well, there you go. Are you going golfing, Steve Hatch, at Snowshoe?
No, unfortunately, I'm going to miss it this year. I'm going to be out in Colorado coaching, so doing some boot camps, and I won't make it this year. But I've done it in the past, and grip it and rip it and smash that little white ball, and that's a lot of fun.
It is. And it's all for a good cause. It's to send the Team USA team members to the ISDE in November to Chile, and it's all coming up the Friday before the Snowshoe GNCC. Go to GNCCRacing.com. I think it's in the news links. Look for the ISDE fundraiser golf tournament story. Pull that up. Got all the links, all the info, how to register. If you want to donate to the team and see that they have the money and funds that they need, then be sure and do that, and we certainly encourage that. Let's head back down to Mikey, who's standing by with, I believe, second place now.
Well, Trevor Bollinger, man, you've got to feel good about this one. Best finish on the season today.
Yeah, I feel really good. You know, I actually got a good start for probably the first time in my career. And, yeah, me and Caleb made a quick pass on Ryan. And, you know, once I got in the second by him, I said, I'm going to either kill myself or stay with him this whole race. And, you know, I was able to just stay with him. And, you know, he's taking some good lines. And, yeah, if he had pulled me out a little bit, then I was able to just catch back up. And it was a really good race for me. And I felt smooth and in control the whole race.
So, Trevor, tell us, I mean, what kind of confidence boost is this for you, being able to be right on Caleb Russell for a large majority of today's race?
Yeah, it feels really good. And to make it even better, you know, with 2 to go, I actually bent my rear rotor. And I didn't think I was going to be able to stay with him or even keep Thad off of me because I knew he was coming. And luckily, I was just able to, I don't know, keep pumping him and trust my front brakes. And, you know, I was able to stay with him. And it was hard the last lap. I couldn't really charge and make a pass. But, yeah, I'm happy with it.
On to Snowshoe. Can you do it again?
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. There you go, folks. Trevor Bollinger, your second-place rider today in the XC1.
All righty, there you go. Best finish of that rider's career, I'm sure, and best ride of his career to be right there. And like you said, I wasn't I was going to die or keep up with Caleb Russell at that point. He certainly had his mind made up today, I believe.
Absolutely. It wasn't a wavering. It was a decision, and whatever it took to stay there, he was going for it. And if he crashed, so be it. But that's sometimes the attitude you got to have to bridge that gap of somebody that's as fast and consistent and as Caleb. So that's a great ride for Trevor Bollinger for sure.
It most certainly is. And another good ride by Thad Duvall. Maybe not the one that he wanted, but he's with Mikey Waynes too.
Great ride from you today, but we know what your expectations are coming into these races.
Yeah, you know, the expectation is to win, but I don't know. I'm like disappointed, but I'm still pumped at the same time. I felt like I left it all on the track, man. I rode 110%, and you know, hats off to them guys. We were even all day. I was able to run them down twice and just had to pit and lost time when I pit. But you know, I felt like I was a little bit quicker in the middle of the race. I was able to get up to those guys and just just couldn't put it together. So you know, I tried pushing so hard the last lap, and we came out in the field section. It was like the same distance, so it was like, all right, just like kind of back it down a little bit and cruise it in. So yeah, just I'm excited to be on the podium. Many times is good, and you know, just a little disappointed losing points. But yeah, you know, the bike and worked awesome today, and you know, super happy with the way I rode. I felt like I rode all day. Just one mistake in the tight stuff when I crashed pretty good. But yeah, just got to give it up to the whole Rockstar team. You know, they pushed me pretty hard, and you know, they're all around the track cheering me on, and you know, the fans were pretty cool today too. So just, I don't know, got to rebound at Snowshoe and get the win for sure.
On to Snowshoe, he says. There's Thad Duvall, your third-place finisher here today.
Well, there you go. You know, it's good. I'm glad that he can pull away some positive out of this, really. I mean, because at least he isn't going away kicking himself, you know, and down on himself. So that gives him something to build on for 2 weeks from now rather than kicking himself for the next 2 weeks, you know?
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's the trick for all of us, you know, that are racers and mentally competitive is, can you come out of there and he said it, which is all I ever aim for as a racer myself, is if you give it everything you got, you can't ask for any more. And it sounds like Thad left it all on the track at 110%, made one little mistake, but you know, and that's just part of racing. But it looks like he was happy with his ride, so that's all you can ask for.
That is all you can ask for. Well, I tell you, folks, you watched it live here on RacerTV.com, or you were here trackside. You can go home and watch it on the archive broadcast of it as well, and we will also have some highlights of that on the NBC Sports Network coming up as well. We'll get you the date and time for that, air date for that as well. And don't forget, we'll be back here on RacerTV.com live in 2 weeks as we'll be heading to the Snowshoe GNCC. We'll have coverage of all the great ATV racing from the mountain as well as the motorcycle racing. And we'll also have some highlights from the golf tournament, which is always and seems to always be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that's it's a great time, and if you're get in the area and got the opportunity to go there on Friday and do the golf tournament or to help with the ISDE fundraiser, it's a great cause, and I always try to be there, or if I'm not there, donate. And it's neat to see these riders represent the United States and really get the win a few years ago, as well as be competitive and in there. And it's one of those things that's so much fun to get to go do the 6 days. I did 8 of them and enjoyed every one of them in different countries, and
really,
it's really fun to get to go and have the support and know that the U.S. People are behind it and racers. So get a chance, go and help them out for sure.
For sure, 8 ISDEs, no kidding. That's pretty cool. I mean, obviously you learned a whole lot through that. What was probably your most memorable time moment from an ISDE, you think?
It was probably Czechoslovakia, and I actually only second year doing 6 days on the junior trophy. We won the junior trophy, and I was the top American, and I think 7th overall. So it was a great race over there, and really young, and a big feather in my cap at a young time in my career. So it was really cool.
Awesome. Let's head back down to the podium right now and speak with our XC2 250 Pro Class winner, Josh Toth.
Well, Josh Toth, man, another win for you. Nothing new for you, but, man, I'm sure you're aware of it. I'm sure they've told you by now. After lap 1, 1 second slower than the lap time of Caleb Russell.
Yeah, I got out to a good start, and that's kind of rare for me. So, I mean, there's some dust in the fields, and I just took advantage of it in the woods and just carried my momentum and got comfortable. And, yeah, I kept a really good pace all the way, and I think I caught some of the XC1s in the field sections, which kind of messed me up a little bit with the lingering dust and everything. But yeah, to be up there in the front running the same times is awesome.
Man, what kind of confidence boost does that give you, if you need any at all? But what kind of confidence boost does that give you, knowing that you are capable of doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a huge confidence booster, and going into next year I'm going to be XC1, so it's really helpful to kind of get the experience and know what the pace is, really.
Well, Josh Toth, congratulations to you, my friend. Josh Toth picking up another win here at the Tomahawk.
All righty, and congratulations to Josh Toth. As he pointed out, was running 1 second. Actually, it was 0.3 of a second difference is all that there was in Caleb Russell and Josh Toth at the end of that first lap. He was 0.3 of a second slower than Caleb. That's 0.3, and it would have been pretty cool to have his name at the top of the list, I'm sure, for himself there for a little bit. But even riding that nearly identical same lap time, pretty impressive stuff, and it gives us a good idea of what we can expect to see out of Josh Toth and his future career here in the GNCC Racing Nation. And, of course, just want to take this time, Steve, to say thank you, buddy. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. Also want to say thanks to our good friend Mikey Waynes out there, and also earlier Landon Wolf. And we'll see you, I guess, probably at Snowshoe. You coming out?
I'll be in Colorado then, unfortunately, coaching,
right.
But I'll be back for sure at the one in New York here right after break.
All right, we'll see you back here at the next New York GNCC. Don't want to get the name of that one wrong. It's a brand new one, and it's going Black Sky, I think is what the name is. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful. I've heard people talk about it. Can't wait. We'll be back in 2 weeks at Snowshoe GNCC on behalf of everyone here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC and RacerTV.com. I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.